It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff's here. Paris is here. We've got Alphabet's quarterly earnings. I thought they looked pretty good. The stock market says, you lose, Google. We'll also talk about Amazon and Roomba. The deal is off. And then using Python to find a neighborhood nuisance. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 753, recorded Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. Jeff's brother and Paris's Canon. This Week in Google is brought to you by Rocket Money. If I asked you how many subscriptions you have, would you be able to list all of them? Could you tell me how much you're paying? You know, if you'd asked me that question before I started using Rocket Money, I would have been sure I knew, but I could tell you I would have been so wrong. Rocket Money has saved me thousands, literally, in subscriptions. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending. It helps you lower your bills, too. Rocket Money, it has more than 5 million users, including me, and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year with more than $500 million in canceled subscriptions. You can see all your subscriptions in one place. If you see something you don't want, you tap it, you cancel it. You never have to get on the phone with customer service. They do it for you. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/twig. That's rocketmoney.com/twig. rocketmoney.com/twig. It's time for Twig This Week in Cool. Whatever we want to talk about. Cool. With our favorite people. Paris Martineau is here from The Information. I love the flickering fire in the background. It's a cozy...
Listen, will my candle burn out before the end of the show? Will it stay lit? Stay tuned.
It's the cozy Twig today with Paris Martineau from The Information. Also with us, he's emeritus, but he's real. He is the Leonard Tao Professor Emeritus for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Hello, Jeff Jarvis.
Hello. How are you, boss?
I am well. None of us were willing to watch the testimony this morning in front of Congress. They
all chose to practice self-care.
Self-care. Precisely.
Yes.
Precisely. Who was there? Mark Zuckerberg was there. All the social network people. Linda Yaccarino, CEO of Twitter, was there.
The CEOs of
Snap,
TikTok,
Evan Spielberg,
Snap, and Discord.
And I don't know the name of the TikTok or Discord. You were saying that federal marshals had to actually force them to testify.
Yeah, the only ones that showed up voluntarily to the hearing were Zuckerberg and TikTok CEO. U.S. Marshals had to show up and deliver subpoenas to the headquarters of Discord, and I believe also Snap and X, in order to get them to show up, which I think is kind of telling.
Wow.
Snapchat agrees with this stupid law. I don't know why they'd be so...
Regulatory capture. So what they're talking about is... Yeah. Is it COSA that these hearings?
COSA, yep. This is Blumenthal and COSA.
Okay, so the issue is ostensibly child abuse on the internet. COSA is, in theory, a bill that will protect children online. There's some real question whether that's the case. It really seems to be more a political thing than anything else. But it is grandstanding, yes. Yeah. It is, I have to say, a bipartisan effort. Here's Mark Zuckerberg apologizing, this is from the Washington Post, to the families of a cyber bullying incident. Here, let me turn on
Girls between 13 and 15
Josh
were
Hawley.
exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram.
But Josh Hawley's saying that gives me creeps.
Senator, this is why we're building all
Who
these
did you
different
fire?
tools. Senator, I don't think that's...
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Whom?
Whom
did you fire?
Right? You didn't take any
Senator,
significant
I don't think
action.
it's appropriate to talk about like
It's not
individual HR
appropriate.
decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you?
This is pure political
You've got
grandstanding.
families
Oh, he's
across
awful.
the
It's
nation
theater.
whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a
I'm
single
happy
person?
to-
Let me
happy
ask you
to
this.
talk
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you compensated any of the victims?
Sorry?
Have you compensated any of the victims? These girls, have you
Poor,
compensated?
I don't normally say poor Mark Zuckerberg, but
Why not?
Yeah, but
That impact
I'm
parents.
shocked that they did not prepare him for
You didn't take any
this.
action. You didn't fire any.
I think you can't.
They
How can you
didn't-
prepare for that?
No. So when CEOs go to these hearings, or any executive, they have mock versions of this.
Yeah.
Where you hire, if you're a smart company, you hire people who've carefully studied the tactics of the various.
Oh, Nick
people
Clegg
from
sat 'em
Congress.
down, no doubt.
Who are going to sit there and they bully you in a mock hearing in order to get you to be calm under pressure.
it's
And
actually
that,
one of the most
shouldn't have
fun
happened.
things to do. Paris, my old boss, would have me do that before interviews. It was just the greatest fun because I could say everything mean to the boss to prep him. It was great.
Senator
Love
Tom
that.
Cotton repeatedly asked TikTok's CEO Shou Zhu, "Are you a member of the Chinese Communist Party?" To which Shou replied, "I'm from Singapore. I'm not Chinese." And then Cotton said, "But do you know any members of the Chinese Communist Party?" To which Shou replied, again, by the way, this is his second time testifying before this Congress. "No, I'm Singapore. I'm Singaporean. I'm not from China. I know I look
speak
like
English,
I'm from
by the
China to
way.
those of you who aren't paying attention." Sorry?
And they speak English in Singapore, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he speaks perfect English.
It's blatant
ridiculous.
racism.
Yeah.
It's blatant racism. Lindsey Graham says Zuckerberg has blood on his hands, but so does Joe Biden.
So in
So
that
this is the
Zuckerberg
problem.
clip, Leo, you missed the amazing part of that Zuckerberg clip.
The apology?
Keep going.
All
He
right.
turns around.
Let's
to
keep
the people.
going. Let's keep
You
going.
haven't compensated a
That's
single
not-
victim.
that's
Let
not
me
what I
ask you
said.
this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well-
they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good
What
people?
grandstanding.
He says, "I'm sorry for everything you've been through. It's terrible. No one should have to go through the things your family has suffered."
And this is why we invested so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that
Mark's not a politician, so he's going to be off his balance on this. It's hard to compete against somebody like Josh Hawley. Here's Lindsey Graham.
Courthouse door. Until you do that, nothing will change. Until these people can be sued for the damage they're doing, it is all talk. I'm a Republican who believes in free enterprise, but I also believe that
we don't know
every
what you
American
believe in,
who's
Lindsay.
been wronged
God.
has to have somebody to go to complain. There's no commission to go to.
Why
that
can't
can
they?
punish
Why
you.
can't they be sued? I
There's
thought they
not
could
one
be. In
law
fact,
in
they're
the book.
being sued.
No, it's 230. It's 230.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Section 230. He doesn't want.
Oh, yeah.
So-
that's Blumenthal's. They should be sued. They should be
Yeah.
sued. They should be sued.
So I just want to emphasize that, of course, these companies can withstand lawsuits. They get them all the time under if Section 230 is withdrawn. It's not these companies that you should be concerned about. It's companies like mine. It's our chat room. It's our forums. It's our Discord that would go away because we would be open to those lawsuits. Because the idea of Section 230 is that we are not publishers, that we are, by providing those platforms, giving you a chance to speak, and you should be liable for your words, not us. And of course, we are very aggressive. I am very aggressive personally in moderating all of our platforms. We're very careful about the content that's on our platforms. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't be shut down by frivolous lawsuits. So
And worse, Dana Boyd had a wonderful, who's the expert in this, who wrote the book It's Complicated, who's studied teens and online for much of her career. She had posted a very upset about this COSA talk. And she says, to quote here, "The problem is not technology causes harm. The problem is we live in an unhealthy society where our most vulnerable populations are suffering because we don't invest in resilience or build social safety nets." There's a much bigger problem here that this distracts from at the level of politicians who should be paying attention to other things, and they're not. Our young people, there are horrible stories, absolutely, but there is also the case that young people are under tremendous pressure from us elders for academic performance, for their social performance, for getting into schools. They're worried about getting shot in their schools. They're worried about getting into colleges. They're worried about the economy and their future and jobs. It's not their phones. And when you act like it is just their phones, you ignore everything else.
Dana acknowledges children are dying. She says they're in crisis. We are not providing with the support they most need. This bill is not that. Many aspects of the tech industry, she says, are toxic, but people are politically prudently using children. It doesn't help children, and it doesn't address the core issues in tech. She says the definition is wrong. It's not Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, it's, she says solutionism is counterproductive. The technological fix is just more of the same. It doesn't solve the problem. She says, for the last few years, I've been stunned to watch how the tech lash has evolved from attempting to call into question these foolish logics, the logic that people who are obsessed with tech think tech will solve everything, to outright blaming tech companies for intentionally causing harms. Somehow we've shifted from tech will save democracy to tech will destroy democracy. Hint, democracy was in deep doo-doo before tech. The weird thing about this framing is that it's technologically deterministic as the tech industry's own orientation.
So Paris is the person here who grew up with the internet. What's your thought about all this?
I mean, I agree with everything you guys and Dana have said. It seems like this is, I feel like we encounter a version of this problem every time we get one of these grandstanding hearings. The actual problem at hand or being discussed is kind of just a facade for whatever political machinations the various players want to push. And in this case, it's children and their mental health, which are real. That's a real and pressing concern. It's multifaceted, and I don't know, levying some fines or slapping companies like Facebook on and TikTok on the wrist isn't going to address the systemic issues
making
at
Mark
hand.
Zuckerberg stand up and apologize to the families is not what those families and other families need. They need access to affordable, this is Dana talking, high quality mental health services. You don't see Congress working on that.
Hawley exploited those families, and they're paying today.
Yeah, he actually did something worse than what Facebook did.
Yes.
Oh, well, all right. So that's the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Especially because, I mean, bringing families like that to a hearing, you are in some way telling them or promising them this will provide a solution to your grief. And in this case, that's incorrect. Nothing is going to provide a solution to their grief.
So Paris, this morning on Morning Joe, which I watched just to get my blood pressure up and remind myself I'm alive.
I was about to say, very geriatric of you to be watching cable news in the morning.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much, kid. So they had on Blumenthal, and then they had on a mother of a child who lost. She lost her child to this. And when they ask at the end, well, what can we do to solve this? We'll pass COSA. She didn't
lose her child to this, whatever this is.
Right.
That's a very individual, personal issue. Could just as much be the parents, could be her school, could be her schoolmates. It's much more likely the people around her than a Silicon Valley company. But we don't want to solve that problem. It's easier to go after Silicon Valley companies, especially because it's, politically expedient to go after big tech right now. The good news is in 2023, Congress only passed 27 bills.
Oh, God.
They are
this
not
one may pass.
exactly
This one
effective.
might pass.
Maybe it wouldn't be so sad if that's what passes.
Lindsey Graham said today that this bill will come out of committee unanimous, and he's probably right.
Yeah, because, it's very difficult to say no to it because it looks like you're in favor of child pornography or you have no sensitivity for these poor families. All right, let's look at COSA.
Impact?
Let's look at COSA directly.
And then Canada's got a really bad one, too. Canada doesn't stop.
It's
North Americans, we stick together.
It's the Kids Online Safety
Puritanism,
Act.
man. Yo, Puritans.
Dick Blumenthal of Connecticut, Democrat of Connecticut, is its sponsor. Well, all this stuff is crossed out here. Wait a minute. Let me get to the not crossed out part. Well, I don't know what
It's
I'm
about
looking
sex.
at.
You can't read it, Leo.
Yeah, apparently it's prohibited. Let's look at the PDF. Maybe it won't be crossed out there. Oops, wrong PDF.
I'm reading the Blumenthal's press release about it, so I'm sure this is a lot of spin. But it says the bill provides parents and kids, gives them safeguards to protect kids' experiences online, requires social media platforms provide minors with options to protect their information, disable addictive product features, and opt out of algorithmic recommendation.
Yeah, that's a big
creates accountability for social media's harm to kids. A duty for social media platforms to prevent and mitigate harms to minors, such as content promoting of self-harm, suicide, eating disorders, substance abuse, and sexual exploitation.
That's all the benefits. That doesn't explain how it does it. And of course,
I think it allows suing. I don't know if it gets around 230 or how it does that. But it's also demonizing the algorithm. Though recent research has shown that going without the algorithm is worse. Because it's a raw feed.
Yeah.
And
the algorithm isn't what's causing the problem. I really
not
think
at all.
That's not.
They want to blame that.
Let me see what ChatGPT says. I'm going to ask it to summarize.
EFF
You could ask your new browser.
I could.
Browser thing.
The Electronic Frontier Foundation says today's version of COSTA would require surveillance of anyone 16 or under. It would put the tools of censorship in the hands of state attorneys general and would greatly endanger the rights and safety of young people online.
Yep. And speech for all of us, because we're all going to have to. I'm using a Canada example here, but they're going to require even probably search engines to require age verification.
Yeah, so it seems that it would require the filtering and blocking of legal speech. Essentially, attorneys general would decide what content is dangerous to young people, and then that would have to be blocked by social media companies. There would also be age verification. And I think you could see where the attorneys general issue would cause problems in certain states. If you take a look at any of the legislation and rhetoric coming out of Florida in the past couple of years about anyone in the queer community, it could go very south very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the attorneys general of Florida and Texas both proposed bills that really were more about protecting conservative voices in social media than protecting kids. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of this is also they want the control however they can get it. And if they have to use kids to get it, they will. And that's really what's shameful about this. Just as Josh Hawley getting those parents to come and stand up so Mark Zuckerberg could do this kind of mock apology to them is a very cynical use of kids and kids suffering to get at your political enemies and garner votes. And that's just shameful.
It is.
All right.
So meanwhile, can I bring up Canada for 1 second here?
Blame Canada.
Michael Geist.
I think it's their fault.
Well, so Canada did the horrible CAT, which I've complained about in the show, and they've had other things that are stupid, but they keep coming out with bad internet laws. So there's Michael Geist, who's been covering this really well in Canada. The most dangerous Canadian internet bill you've never heard of is a step closer to becoming law, having passed the Senate, Bill S-210. And it's similarly about kids and pornography in this case. So it would require the offense for any organization making available sexually explicit material to anyone under the age of 18 for commercial purposes. So that means you've got to have a prescribed age verification method to limit access, things like facial recognition and other things. It also means, according to Geist, it could mean that even search engines would have to verify age. So that is because it could get you to bad stuff.
Yeah.
And so it really screws up the entire net. And this North American Puritanism, is spreading around, and this is going to affect the speech of everyone.
I think part of the goal of this is really to put pornography out of business. This is a kind of a stalking horse for really getting rid of pornography, and that's what's happened in some of these states where they haven't implemented age verification laws. Is companies like Pornhub have abandoned those states because they say, well, we don't want to do that. It would be invasive of our users' privacy. Because, by the way, age verification only works if everybody does it, adults and children.
Right.
So,
well, and also, I mean, Fost assessed, and I write about this in my next book. Much evidence now shows that it made things worse for sex workers and for people and for trafficking, because it took away places where that were cooperating with law enforcement, including Backpage, where law enforcement knew how to go to them and do things. And yes, it had pornography, and yes, it enabled escorts and sex work. But now it's worse. It's worse for everybody.
Yeah, because when you push that stuff underground, those people are actually more vulnerable and more exploited. All right. Well,
all right. That's enough for government.
There was the circus in Washington, the usual circus in Washington. Thank you very much. Let's hope it joins the hundreds of other bills. There were 700 votes last year in the House. Only 27 bills passed. Hope it joins the 700. Well, I guess that's, what is that, 663 or whatever it is. But ridiculous.
I'm just glad I didn't have to turn around and apologize to anybody when I was in the Senate.
I'm not a Mark Zuckerberg fan, but that's as bad as "Have you no shame, sir?" Well, actually, that's the good guy saying that, but it's as bad as McCarthy and the black.
I have in my hand.
Listen, I feel no sympathy for Mark Zuckerberg because, frankly, his team should have prepared him for that. If you're going to one of these hearings, they know in advance that those families are going to be there. His team should have had.
What would he have done differently,
and response.
Yeah, what could he have done?
I don't know off the top of my head because it's not my job to come up with the best possible PR strategy for this, but I'm sure something exists that looked less miserable than that.
Like any politician, he should have done the sincere, turn around and be sincere. Don't, be humble and sincere. Say, I am so sorry. We are doing the best we can. We care about your kids. I have kids myself. I'm a father too. I feel your pain. It's, a horrible, horrible thing. And we have to work better in this country for mental health and for the safety of our kids. And we here at Facebook are going to do everything we can to make sure your kids are protected. And we, we're sorry. I am so sorry. He could have said that.
You're probably not going to like this opinion, but I think that there is, in focusing everything on Zuckerberg, I think there is a hint of anti-Semitism.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. The
Jewish guy.
Yeah.
And
Harvard Jewish guy, even worse.
Yeah.
East Coast elite Jew trying to take over our children. Right. It's a nasty stew of yick. And it's a shame.
The internet has done wonderful things. It's got a lot of good stuff too, but it gets ignored.
I think Dana's point, which is that there are things you can do and should be doing instead of this. This is just showboating, but so it really hurts. I think we should.
I think that it's certainly a good thing to have guardrails on the activities of tech companies and how they are policing content. It's good to have conversations like this, but you should take, at the very least, half of the vigorous approach that you're taking to cracking down on companies like Facebook for a teenage mental health crisis and apply it to the actual mental health crisis.
Right.
Yes.
It shouldn't be all Facebook's fault.
Yeah, but we do, this is what we do in Washington. We do it with the immigration crisis. We do it with everything else. It's we're not
Taylor
looking for
Swift
solutions. Yeah, with Taylor Swift.
Do it with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
So Google actually had a decent quarter, believe it or not, but that wasn't
stock market.
It wasn't decent enough for the stock market to reward them.
Greedy bastards.
Oh my God! So Google Alphabet shares tumbled when Google revealed that instead of making $65.5 billion, which was, by the way, up from $59 billion the year before. They made that instead of making $66.1 billion, which is what the market expected. And as a result, Google was punished. 6% drop in after-hours trading. Look, you went from $59 billion. You went from $59 billion in ad revenue a year ago to $65.5 billion this year. That sounds pretty good. Growth of
Pretty good.
Growth of $6.5 billion. Remember, in 3 months, that's more than $2 billion growth in a month. Oh, but it should have been 700 million more in those 3 months. Forget it. This is absurd.
Is this, go ahead.
I was going to say, I will also say, for the first time, Google disclosed during earnings this time that it generated $15 billion in subscription revenue last year from YouTube and other consumer services like photo storage. But I assume most of that is YouTube. But $15 billion is not much. It's nothing to scoff at.
No, it's good. Those are Apple
also,
numbers.
My money paying for Google, whatever they call it, G-Spot now?
Yeah, I was about to say, a significant percentage of that is Jeff Jarvis.
Yes.
Yeah. Angry Jeff Jarvis.
Google.
Poor unemployed retired old man Jeff Jarvis paying Google his hard-earned money from the past. My
just
future.
To, store all of your photos of your headshots that have not yet been used for books.
Should point out, by the way, that is revenue. The actual profit was a mere $20.7 billion.
Up from.
That's almost $7 billion a month.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, you, Google, I'm selling my stock. You're just doing so terrible. I think these weird incentives are actually a big part of the reason. For instance, 25,000 people were laid off in the tech sector this month, mostly from companies who are doing just swell, like Google.
Yeah, but only to please the stock market. Yeah.
Generative AI is boosting cloud growth, says Sundar Pichai. Google Cloud revenue beat expectations. Still a fraction of its business, only $9.2 billion in revenue. Microsoft's cloud, by the way, shrank. Or no, I'm sorry, it did not. It grew 30%. Google's cloud grew 7.7%. Anyway, I think it was a perfectly good quarter, but the stock market didn't. Okay? Capital expenditures were up. Google's spending a lot of money, despite Ruth Porat trying to make more money. Capital expenditures up 45%, $11 billion. And they'll be even higher for the rest of the year, says Chief Financial Officer Ruth Porat.
So
a lot of that's AI,
Paris,
by the way. The cost of AI, generative AI, is very expensive.
Yes. Paris, back to your point about subscriptions. I just looked up that Amazon manages to register $35 billion from subscriptions. Well, they've been doing it for a long time with a lot of offerings. Free delivery and entertainment and all kinds of stuff. For Google to already get up to half that amount in subscriptions is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. The interesting thing, though, is Amazon subscription kind of just acts as a way to get people bought into the Amazon system. Mm-hmm. Amazon is not, I don't think the calculus is that your $100 and whatever dollar a year Prime subscription is going to pay directly for all the services you get from Prime. It's to make you think, oh, well, I've got an Amazon subscription, so I'm going to order my stuff from Amazon. Yeah.
So a lot of people I'm starting to hear some people say, maybe I don't need Amazon Prime, and actually canceling it. A lot of you don't need, because Amazon will ship it to you the next day anyway. Amazon Prime TV is adding ads now to their
Prime Video. You've got ads for the regular tier. You've got to pay $2.99 extra to get rid of them.
So I'm really wondering.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
Are you a Prime? Or do you subscribe to Prime, Paris?
Yes.
Why?
Same here.
Because until recently I was reporting on Amazon, so it seemed prudent. But I will say, I guess, unrelated to work, I do it because it's convenient. I will sometimes need to order some batteries or something quickly that only Amazon has.
Hey, their batteries aren't very good, by the way.
No, they're not.
This is Benito. I canceled my Amazon Prime like 2 years ago. But every time I need to order something from Amazon, I go to Amazon and they're like, hey, we'll give you 2 weeks of Prime. And I'm like, sure. And get the free delivery.
Yeah, I honestly think you don't need to pay for Prime to get the...
And then when I need it again, I'd wait for the free Prime. I'm like, all right, I'll take the free Prime again for another 2 weeks. Thanks. That's what I've been doing.
I'm wondering if there's much of a value proposition these days in Prime. I think a lot...
Honestly, that's a good point.
I mean, I think I'm like you, Paris, which I just pay for it because, yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Paris, I use it. If I didn't use it, I wouldn't pay for it. I am thinking now, though, I pay for One Medical every year. It's long before they were acquired by Amazon. I've always used it. I actually saw my One Medical doctor, Dan, today for my annual physical.
Hi, Dr. Dan.
Every time he's like, Paris, how's Amazon? What's up? And so we had a long conversation about it. He feels like they're being squeezed a little bit. But I've heard that I think Amazon recently made an announcement that if you link your One Medical account with your Amazon Prime account, you get a discount on one of the two. So
we should mention Amazon owns One Medical. They bought it last year.
Yes, that's the subtext here.
It was a kind of clinics all over the country. Wasn't quite concierge medicine, but that was kind of the idea. And Amazon is showing some really interesting moves in medicine, as if they maybe want to become, the country's medical provider. I don't know.
Walgreens now owns the medical practice I go to. They bought a huge one here. And Paris,
you wouldn't think these would be profitable businesses from the way medical insurance companies act? I know our HMO out here, Kaiser, claims to be losing billions. So, but maybe there is a way to
Paris,
make money. I don't know.
For another comparison, Costco total membership revenue in 2023, you want to guess?
$10 billion.
4.5.
Oh, wow. That's low.
Yeah, that is a strategic part of their business.
I subscribe to Costco. I'm part of that $4.5 billion.
So you get huge amounts of toilet paper in your New York apartment.
I do, yeah.
Oh, actually, I should take it back. Kaiser lost money in 2022. They started making billions of dollars. So maybe it is a good. Maybe there's been a turnaround in the medical business now that COVID is over.
It's interesting. One Medical. I've done some reporting on various. It's this subset of the health tech industry. They're kind of like primary care providers. They also have like a tech stack and platform. And One Medical always sets itself apart in this category because they've been able to. The big problem that a lot of these companies have is because you're a new primary care provider, you don't have negotiating power with large insurance payers. So you get crappy rates and you get, crappy reimbursements. But One Medical has somehow been able to negotiate itself into really good rates through its partnerships. Like today, when I went to the doctor, on the door, it said One Medical with Mount Sinai. And the people I've talked to in the healthcare industry are like, yeah, that with Mount Sinai means that One Medical gets to charge Mount Sinai rates, which are significantly higher than any other normal primary care provider.
So Paris, explain this to me. Did you choose One Medical or did your employer?
I chose One Medical because years ago when I was working at Condé Nast, I don't know, I was just having a hard time getting a good primary care doctor. I wasn't finding luck doing random appointments throughout the city. I'd heard of it. I was like, I'll do a trial. I'll see if I like the doctor. And I was able to get a next day appointment, 9 a.m.
With Dr. Dan.
With Dr. Dan, had a 1 hour intake session, and he's been my BFF ever since.
Can I ask you though, and this is personal, don't answer if you don't want to. But my kids were on my medical until they were 26. You get kicked off. Did you get kicked off of your parents' plan?
I've been paying for my own insurance since I was 18.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Oh.
Good for you. I'm going to send my daughter and son over to talk to you.
Yeah.
Do you pay for your own cell phone too?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm sending my kids over.
I got 2 lines on there too. When I called my dad once to help, I was like, I need you to send me the code so I can detach it from your AT&T. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yes.
Oh, God bless
I need to
you.
be paying for my own.
Oh, they're so proud of you. That's wonderful. By the way, I went to One Medical and said, hey, you're an Amazon Prime member. It's only $9 a month. But that's just a membership, right? That doesn't get you anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing that I like about One Medical, I'm not trying to sound like, I'm genuinely a big fan. I've been doing One Medical for 5 or 6 years. It's phenomenal. The thing that you're paying for, basically, you could use One Medical's doctors without paying that subscription fee. You wouldn't be able to use the app and whatnot. Be fine. I like it because what I think I'm paying for is my doctor today. I came in, we had a 20-minute conversation about journalism and what's up in our lives
really nice.
before we even got to the appointment.
That's because he doesn't have 5,000 patients.
And he's like, since we've been bought by Amazon, this is just his anecdotal experience, but he's like, since we've been bought by Amazon, there's been a little bit of a more push. I'm seeing slightly more patients, but he's like, I've still got a lot of time. He's like, whenever I have like a medical question or something, I'm able to call him or hop on a video call pretty soon. Wow. The thing I really like about One Medical, in addition to like the quick turnaround times for appointments and whatnot, is they've got a kind of like a telehealth feature in their app, but it's basically free. Like I had a sinus infection a month or two ago and I knew it was. And so I called. In 5 minutes, I was on the phone with the doctor, didn't have to pay anything. They prescribed me my antibiotics and I was good to go.
Yeah, see, that's a really smart move on both sides. That's everybody's happy with that.
What about your specialists?
Specialist-wise, they are like able to, they're within the Mount Sinai network.
What's going to happen when you need hip replacement, Paris?
That's a great question. I'm sure I could call you guys, right?
50 years from now.
We'll be
help
able
you
to
through
recommend
it.
some people. Let me tell you about my walker. It's really good.
Medicare paid for it.
Inside.
Yeah.
YouTube. When my father was still alive, he switched. He was on a walker last year, but then we got he fell with me, and we got him a wheelchair, electric wheelchair.
Oh, nice.
And it was the greatest thing. It gave him freedom. It was wonderful to watch, but it was hilarious to watch the little old ladies kind of getting out of the way.
Here I come. Mom's still on. I just got Mom on a walker like 3 months ago, but I think it would be nice to get her in the little scooter. I want to get one of those scooters.
This is not a scooter. This is a wheelchair that's motorized.
A motorized wheelchair is a scooter.
That. Very different.
Cool. Yeah. Well, scooters look more like, George and Seinfeld having a race.
Finally, says Joe in our Discord, in our Club Twit Discord, a show that's tailored to me. This Week in Gramps.
I resent that. Why isn't Leo's face there?
He's Jeff's riding one of those really handy, by the way, little elevators that go up the stairs.
They're so slow.
Listen, it's keeping you safe. You wouldn't want to take a fall at your age.
Oh, no.
No.
We've already had one hip replaced. Our show today brought to you by, I got to tell you, this, if you are one of these young hipsters living in Brooklyn, this is what you need. She's shaking her head. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that one anyway. I won't tell you what you need, Paris. Actually, everybody needs this. Our show today brought to you by Bitwarden. We love Bitwarden, the password manager, open source password manager that offers a cost-effective solution that can dramatically improve your chances of staying safe online. I am a huge fan of Bitwarden. Account switching has come to the Bitwarden browser extensions. Now users can log in up to 5 different separate accounts and switch seamlessly between them in the desktop and mobile apps and browsers. Why would you want to do that? What about work and personal accounts, right? Switch them up. For self-hosting organizations, Bitwarden has developed a Helm chart to enable deployments to Kubernetes clusters, which means if you're already using Kubernetes, it's a snap. It keeps your software stack simplified. You don't have to add a new service to get Bitwarden self-hosted. Generating and managing complex passwords is easy and secure with a trusted credential management solution like Bitwarden. And Bitwarden supports passkeys. I'm loving this. Passwordless login, even my master password can be a passkey now. And Bitwarden, because it's cross-platform, Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, I bring my passkeys with me everywhere. Get started with Bitwarden's free trial of a team or enterprise plan. As an individual, Bitwarden's free forever. It's open source, so you can use it free forever, unlimited passwords across all devices. It even supports hardware keys, YubiKeys, and passkeys. Free, although I have to tell you, I pay for the premium plan, $10 a year, just because I love Bitwarden. I want to support them. Bitwarden.com/twit. Just go no farther. You need a password manager. I think everybody knows that. I know you don't want to. I know you feel like it's inconvenient. You got to get one. Get the one that's easiest to use and works beautifully. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. This Week in Hip Replacements. So
This Week in Wheelchairs.
This Week in New Knees for everyone. I'm just telling you, Paris, take care of your knees because you'll thank me 50 years from now when you're my age.
I did take a little fall over the weekend, and it hurt my knee, and I was like, wow. Knees are quite important.
Knees.
Paris, I have the podiatrist of the stars in New York, if you ever need.
Ooh.
He's seen some of the most prestigious feet in the world. Yes.
Wiki Feet trembles when you say his name.
This man knows that we all have feet of clay, ultimately, to however big we have become. So, University of Massachusetts Amherst has decided they want to know how many videos are on YouTube. How many do you think? Different, unique videos. A few.
I've spoiled myself.
Yes, so have I.
Oh, you've already read the story.
Yeah, we do our jobs.
Yes,
and look
we
at
do.
The rundown.
We do our homework. Unlike you, we actually read ahead.
I like to be surprised. Ryan McGrady is part of that team that has spent the last year figuring out how to calculate how many YouTube videos there are. They published the paper last month. They say, we believe it's the most comprehensive analysis of the world's most important video sharing platform to date, to the point it's so big that it is more than just a video sharing platform. It is a platform for communication. He says YouTube may have started as a video platform, but has now become the backbone of one of the 21st century's core forms of communication. I'd agree.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
I read the paper last month, and I thought we talked about it, but maybe we didn't. He had to do some really interesting arithmetic to figure out how many videos there were by names and all kinds of search. And it was a funny thing about I couldn't because I can't do math.
So for the nerdy amongst us, this is what he wrote in The Atlantic this week. We used a complicated process that boils down to making billions upon billions of random guesses at YouTube IDs. So when you look at a video, when you're watching a video, in the URL, there is this long ID number. We call it dialing for videos inspired by the random digit dialing used in polling. It took a sophisticated cluster of powerful computers at UMass months to collect a representative sample. We then spent another few months analyzing those videos to paint what we think is the best portrait to date of YouTube as a whole.
Wow.
YouTube doesn't publish this. In fact, many of the videos on YouTube are private. They're not even published to the public. We do that a lot, actually. Videos with 10,000 or more views account for 94% of the site's traffic, but less than 4% of the total uploads. Just under 5% of all the videos on YouTube, 5%, 1 in 20, have 0 views. 75% have no comments, even more have no likes. They found that popularity is entirely algorithmic. There's no correlation.
What does that mean?
That means it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have or views you have. How popular you are has everything to do with YouTube's recommendations, not subscriptions. So people are going for the high number of subscribers. That's not going to make a difference.
Okay, but let's also say that in the research about right-wing videos on YouTube, they found that internal recommendations did not lead to the traffic at all. It was all from outside. That YouTube is a shelf upon which they put the videos, and it's Breitbart and company that link to it. So I think that's jumping ahead in the conclusion here. If they're thinking that it's algorithmic, a lot of it is from external links.
I don't think most of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least what we're able to say is that it doesn't seem correlated with subscriber numbers. So the answer is probably broader than just, and thus fair. It is the recommendation algorithm. It is that it is the recommendation algorithm and other things.
Thank you.
Although they did find a correlation between recommendations and views, but I think that's not surprising either, right?
Yeah.
I think he says, in other words, people tend to watch just a sliver of what YouTube has to offer, and on the whole, they follow what the algorithm serves to them. Maybe the entry point is that link outside of YouTube, but what are you going to watch next? And after that. And remember also that the people who most watch YouTube are young people. And I know I've watched people, under 25 watching YouTube, and often it's on autoplay.
I need to watch people.
You have to watch
YouTube
people
because I am not. I am woefully not represented.
You are such an outlier.
Do you guys watch YouTube? Like, do you autoplay videos? I've never autoplayed a video in my life.
Here's the real question: Have you ever played YouTube on your real TV as opposed to your computer?
Oh yeah.
All the time.
I do that all the time.
All the time. And the younger you are, the more you do that. It has become the equivalent of a cable channel or a network. It's one of
I'm
your
going to give you
channels.
something even sadder. Is that I need a TV on to go to sleep on timer.
And you leave YouTube on?
I leave YouTube on with stuff like Berlin before the wall came down.
Oh, yeah.
And
Of
so,
course.
because I want to go to sleep, right? And so
And then you'll wake up in the middle of a Nazi documentary.
I set the timer for the TV then to an hour, but I think that it probably goes most of the night going through video after video after video. So you should see my recommendations now. They're really wacky.
Jeff,
They think
may I
this
recommend
guy loves watching
the relaxing winter jazz, cozy living room ambience with unwind, smooth jazz, snowfall, and fireplace channel?
I don't like jazz.
This is a strange AI.
hate
What?
jazz.
You don't like jazz?
I know
don't
there's
like
something
jazz.
wrong with
When
it.
I started Entertainment Weekly, I actually nearly had a staff revolt where I said, I really don't want us to cover jazz.
What?
Jazz.
I know. I'm disappointed.
So there are hundreds of those kind of ambient music channels. I'm
I
sure.
would hate that. That would keep me awake while reading my
Okay,
teeth.
the most famous is lo-fi beats
Right.
to study or
Right,
sleep to.
right.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find it. How about
The
ethereal?
only two
You might like
YouTube
this one.
videos that have been on my TV in the past, actually, I guess there's 3 genres, in the past year are last year's ball drop, which I played a video of on New Year's Eve, a video of that train that goes across Norway, which was playing on the TV prior to the ball drop, and Taskmaster, the UK
just keep it
variety game show that's
Sure.
available on YouTube.
Here is a maybe you'd like this better. This is a sci-fi, ethereal cyberpunk ambient. You can pretend you're in Blade Runner.
There needs to be a little
creepy.
talking.
You need to have talking? How about Whiteout?
talking.
Shipwrecked space music for winter. Let's jump right in the...
No.
Okay.
How about...
What if you just searched sounds of people talking? 1 hour.
yeah. Okay. Ambient.
People talking 1 hour.
People talking.
No, I think there's
There's a whole category.
there's things of like a coffee shop where it's just like ambient
Yeah.
sounds in a coffee shop.
Oh, no.
No.
I think we should have this.
FOMO.
We should have this running through the show.
Yes, we need a
Yeah,
we need a
that's
laugh
pretty
track.
good. Bring it back.
But you
Yeah.
know,
Here's busy coffee shop noise. Maybe this would be better for you. This
I
just-
want a laugh track.
This goes.
I really want.
This. There's 10 hours of this.
It loops, surely.
No, they probably just put a
Yeah.
recorder in. Let's see what else. How about muffled talking? Oh, the TV's playing in another room. You might like this.
Did you ever see a giraffe bend down? This is the way he does it.
Did he just say?
How many videos?
Did
how many
you ever
views
see a
does that have?
giraffe bend down? Is that what he said?
Of Central Africa. This one is named Pete.
Here's one. Oh, Jeff, this is for you. Sleeping on the couch at a party.
So those of you not watching, it's a
It's like a
beautiful
low
blow
angle
of
shot
some
of
almost
2
empty.
champagne glasses.
What's the yellow thing?
I don't know. Is that a lamp?
I don't know.
It does get busy sometimes. I don't know. Here's a. Oh, there's a little
All right.
music in the background. How about sleeping
3
in the
hours.
back of my Impala?
With talking.
Boy, this is an exciting show for you tonight, isn't it, folks?
Yeah.
How about, I don't know
We're
what
going to
this
get
is.
content
This is
warnings.
from Adult Swim. Joe Pera talks you to sleep for 10 hours. I guess it's a character on Adult Swim. What show is this?
But you don't.
Oh, it's actually a show called Joe Pera Talks with You. I'm waiting for him to talk.
Fast forward a little bit, will you?
Let's hear him.
One guy cheats on his wife. What's the big deal? Thinking further down the same line of
they
thought.
stole my idea for a podcast.
Tiny and insignificant.
It was just going to be me mumbling to myself. Anyway, that's just a handful of the, are you ready? Drum roll, please. The number 14 billion videos on YouTube, more than 1.5 videos for every person on the planet. And that's the ones that are publicly visible.
I love the long walk we took to get there.
That was a long way. We played half of them.
Sure was.
I hope you enjoyed this tour of YouTube.
We doubled the audience in some of those videos.
Elon has put a chip in somebody's brain. It happened.
He says.
I want to know who it is.
Well,
someone out there.
It's probably somebody. They remember the FDA gave them approval about 9 months ago, and they asked for people who are paraplegic or cannot see or cannot hear, people who really have severe brain impairments, to volunteer for this. Elon just says that it happened. He tweeted that it happened, but and he says he's recovering well, but we don't know anything else. So. I don't know if I really would want this thing put in my head, especially since it's not.
I don't want anything from Elon in my head.
It's not. No. It's not installed. So listen to this. How it happens. And this is from Gizmodo. To integrate Neuralink's chip, a human surgeon is tasked with cutting a small hole in your skull. That the human does, and then. This is actually scary. A 7-foot tall robot named R1.
Why is it 7 feet tall?
Gotta be big.
Why does it have a name?
That was the size of the one that went after my prostate. Yeah, I walked into the operating room and then looked up and just said, "Be nice to me."
And just cold.
I guess the robots can do ultra delicate things. They suture electrified wires from the implant into the brain. If the surgery is successful, there's a phrase, the company's hardware is designed to rest in the portion of the patient's skull that was removed right below the scalp, while tiny wires carry data back and forth between the brain and the servers. Now, what's interesting, I think that this is AI driven because we don't exactly say, oh yeah, when that neuron fires, that means you want water. We don't know. So they have to train the device, and I assume that the patient is part of this training process. Okay, think of raising your left hand. Okay, think of it again, and slowly train this device. These are what the signals look like when the thought pattern "raise my left hand" is. It's apparently they were able to get a monkey to click a button, I think. So I'm nervous about doing this, but on the other hand, the potential.
Wait.
The
huge.
monkey
has no language. How? Wait.
How did it?
How are you trained? Yeah, that makes no sense.
Oh, just use your imagination. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. They put a jelly bean on the button. I don't know.
Okay, Leo. It's all right.
Listen, it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
A few monkeys
We've got a
died.
7-foot tall robot here to solve your
A few monkeys
problems.
died. You can read if you want to know more.
Just a few.
The story in Wired from last year, the gruesome story of how Neuralink's monkeys actually died. It's really depressing. But you know what? We've done this before. This is how medical research proceeds sometimes. I'll just give you. You could probably figure this out. But you've got a monkey that's normal, whole, and intact, and you train it to do something. Maybe reach for a lever, and you get a reward. Reach for a lever, gets a reward. Then you impair them. Implant one of these things and trigger ring the bell or whatever it was that triggers the monkey. And the monkey, even though he can't reach for the reward, thinks he's reaching for the reward. And then you go, yeah, see?
Leo, what's the next story?
Yeah. You see, I told you, use your freaking imagination.
Well, we know you can't imagine it. You've just got a black hole inside there, right?
I can't visualize it.
You can't
imagine
visualize that monkey at all.
No.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Can you see? Were you actually seeing a monkey?
Can you see the monkey?
No.
I was, yeah.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
It was really cute. until it got impaired.
Yeah, that's what threw me off too. Oh, gee, we just handicapped the monkey. How cool.
Well, they have to. It's part of the thing. What do you think? You think, face creams come untested? You got to do some work.
I love this segment where you're stumping for animal cruelty.
Sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up. I said use your imagination. I did. But clearly that wasn't sufficient, so I had to paint a picture for you. But it's really true, though. You raise an interesting point, Paris. Maybe I am insensate to it because I don't see a cute monkey. But you do. I don't see nothing.
I saw that monkey go limp.
Oh,
it was
I'm so
sad.
sorry. Oh, my God.
And you did it, Leo. You did it.
You killed my imagination monkey.
You know what else?
It's never going to live a fulfilling life.
You know what else went limp? Amazon's bid for iRobot. Dead
That's
as a
true.
doorknob. Yep. I'm surprised. How long did that? It took them a year, right? Before the offer was a long time ago.
It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
And the EU put the kibosh on it.
$94 million cancellation fee goes to iRobot. Not enough to save iRobot's business. They've been struggling. They're going to cut 31%.
Yeah, iRobot, they're hurt. They hurt the company. They hurt all the employees.
They
there.
impaired
Tons
it.
are laid off.
Yes.
They impaired it. Yes. Now she's seeing now Paris is seeing a
cute little
robot.
vacuum.
Yeah, I'm just imagining a Roomba being smacked on the top with a.
Do you have
I don't
a Roomba?
have a Roomba.
No.
I've got my floors are too uneven in this apartment to have a Roomba.
You can't have a Roomba in Brooklyn. I can just see Gizmo though riding the Roomba around happily.
Oh, she'd be so cute.
She'd be so happy on a Roomba. So iRobot, which made those robot vacuum cleaners, I guess they were just holding out hope that the suckers at Amazon would complete the $1.4 billion acquisition. Amazon.
So the business has not been good?
Oh, no, they're embarking on a restructuring plan, firing 31% of the workforce. The shares fell 19% to their lowest level since 2009.
Good work, EU.
How did you help anything, right?
Yeah.
Even with a $94 million termination fee. Yeah. The EU said you can give us these remedies, but the Amazon was declined to do any of the things the Commission had asked them to. The Commission had warned Amazon could be attempted to demote other robot vacuum cleaners on its platform, promote its own products with labels like Amazon's Choice or Works with Echo. The regulator also said Amazon might find it economically profitable to shut out rivals. Yes, of course, if you're the nation's grocery store market, there's a real risk of that, of course.
But Amazon does. I mean, this is what drives me nuts about them. Amazon promotes every single competitor. It makes available for sale every single competitor. It makes a whole marketplace for new competitors to be created. Just like Google, which gets accused in shopping, Google links to every competitor of Google. What other company does that? Does Condé Nast link to Hearst?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's more.
ABC, no.
The comparison is more your grocery store has a store brand and other brands in it.
Yes,
I don't know that it's the Condé Nast or NBC.
No, but that's a good one. They don't prohibit generics or grocery store brands. I buy Safeway signature meats, often to my regret.
Really? Yeah.
This outcome, David Zapolsky, Amazon Senior Vice President, said, I agree with Jeff Jarvis. This outcome will deny consumers faster innovation and more competitive prices, which we're confident would have made their lives easier and more enjoyable. The EU has made your life less enjoyable, says Sapolsky.
Yes,
it's true.
Undue and disproportionate regulatory hurdles discourage entrepreneurs should be able to see acquisition as one path to success, and that hurts both consumers and competition, the very things regulators say they're trying to protect. On the other hand, do you really want startups to start up with the sole goal of being purchased by Amazon, Google, Microsoft?
Well, they're not going to
Apple?
start up if there's not an exit. That's the real issue.
Yeah.
The startups we now don't know it won't start because of this.
That is, I guess, more of an issue with the venture capital model generally, is there's most companies should not raise tens of millions of dollars because they're not going to experience growth that would make that investment worthwhile. They're not going to grow and scale in the same way that like a Facebook or an Amazon would.
Right. But you couldn't have had. iRobot had to have venture capital investment because it was expensive to invent the technology and create it, and so they were stuck. So the next person who comes along with a really neat idea to give Leo the kind of browser he wants on his phone or something, says venture he can get money.
Bloomberg's senior intelligence analyst Poonam Goyal says financially this deal is immaterial to either sales or profit of Amazon. But broadly speaking, she said the termination supports our view that large technology, this is actually probably the most important point in the whole story, large technology companies will have a tough time closing any acquisition given the current regulatory climates, not just in the EU, but here in the U.S.
What happened to Figma after it couldn't consummate?
I don't know. I mean, they got,
marriage?
they got at least $1 billion, right?
I believe $1 billion termination fee.
Yeah.
They are refreshing stock. I'm sure it's not good for them. I mean, you have a whole employee base that thought they were going to be multimillionaires.
That's the biggest issue.
Suddenly they are, I was going to say in a financially rough place, but probably not. Suddenly they're just millionaires or a couple $100,000-aires.
You cover Amazon, I know, as among other things at The Information, which is why you have a Prime membership, Paris Martin.
That's true.
But the Bloomberg
got to eat the dog food, man.
Got to dog food. Bloomberg points out that iRobot was Amazon's was their biggest customer, at times accounting for more than a quarter of sales. So,
well, I mean, iRobot, like many, tech device companies, sells their products predominantly through Amazon. So I think when Amazon was trying to enter this segment of the home technology market, it's kind of what Amazon ended up doing with One Medical. It was like, rather than build their own version of it and compete, why not just buy the best thing out there and fold it into the Amazon ecosystem?
Yep.
In a way, Amazon was probably going to hurt itself in its revenue, not in a big way, but I just searched for a robot vacuum on Amazon. And various of these are ads that are put Roborock, S8 Pro Ultra, robot vacuum and mop, another brand, right? So that's advertising revenue that Amazon, if it chose to promote iRobot, would have probably given up that advertising revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Amazon probably would have still taken that advertising revenue. It just would have also had an in-house brand be top of the stack.
Do you have any robot vacuums, Jeff, in your home?
No.
How many robot vacuums do you have, Leo? In your home?
I have them all.
I was about to say, it wasn't a question of do you have them.
No.
Actually, I banned them. There's I'm surprised you haven't heard the story, but I know Jeff has heard the story of my Roomba. It was a sad story. It was a sad tale. We bought the most...
Play a tiny little violin?
Yeah, you might want to. We impaired it, shall we say. Lisa bought the top-of-the-line Roomba. But even though it was the top-of-the-line Roomba, it had some bad habits. We made it so it would only... you want it to only go when you're not around. But for some reason, it would fall off its charger. It has a little garage it goes into, and it would charge it. But so for some reason it would fall off its charger and its programming would get lost. So even though I programmed it to go when we're at work, it would invariably go off at 3 a.m. And the Roomba makes a little happy sound when it starts. It goes da-da-da-da-da, and then it goes and it comes out of its little house and wanders around. And the Roomba was just the perfect height to get stuck under a sideboard that we had. It couldn't quite was trying to get under it, but it invariably got stuck. And then, so I'd wake up. First, I'd hear the da-da-da-da-da, but maybe if I was able to go back to sleep, then I would hear boom, 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 as the Roomba boom, boom, kept trying to either get in or get out, I'm not sure, of under the thing. So for the first 20 times that happened, I would gently go, and the Roomba has a little handle. And so, there, little boy. I'd pick it up, and I'd stick it back in its little house so it could charge and work properly on and maybe even set the clock. The 21st time, I picked it up by its little handle. I brought it out to the garage, and I gently placed it under the wheels of Lisa's car.
Oh,
well,
that's beautiful.
I was hoping to send it to the, little Roomba farm in the sky, but fortunately, I guess for the Roomba, Lisa saw it and didn't run over it. But it was not my favorite device. No, but John, you love your Roomba. Yeah, John loves his Roomba. Benito, do you have a robot in your home?
I do not.
Yeah, there's
a sale on Amazon right now, not surprisingly, from 37% off, just like the staffing at the company, from $269 to $169.
Yeah, but that's not the best Roomba. You want the best Roomba, which is self-emptying. It's a robot vacuum and mop.
So when I got my hair cut the other day, I'd never seen this before. Maybe you've all seen it. The nice person swept up all my white locks.
As one does.
Into a little hole in the ground?
No, into a machine that went... They just swept it next to it, and then it sucked up all of it.
You've never seen this?
Floor.
It's like a little hole usually on the
sideboard there.
on the floor, on the side thing, and you sweep it in there and it goes whoop.
We have one of those in our house, in our kitchen. It's called a central vacuum system. And you have a big thing, and you could plug it into holes. Every room has a little hole instead of toting a vacuum around. And then in the kitchen on the floor, there's a little, I never use it, by the way. There's a little vent.
That sounds so luxurious.
And so when you're done sweeping the pile, you lift the vent, and you go, and it goes, and sucks it up. You've never seen that?
I just have a Dyson.
Where does it go?
Dyson Air Stick.
Where does it go? No one knows. I've never emptied it.
If you listen closely in the background, it's the sound of Leah's house catching on fire.
Help me. There is a giant canister in the garage where I think things go, but I don't. Can't be bothered to check.
That's very 1960s.
Yeah.
It is.
I would just hold Gizmo, my cat, up to it and get all of the fur off of her in just one swoop.
We don't use either of those, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Roomba or
we had one in this house that we took out.
We have impaired monkeys.
A central vacuum system?
Yeah, well, this house was built in the 70s.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Why would you take that out? That's so cool.
No, it was this canister hanging in the garage.
Yeah.
And it's not very good. It sucks at sucking.
Well, you didn't have a good one. Ours really sucks. I mean, it really. I'm always worried about losing a toe. I mean, it's got quite a hefty suck. Did you? All right, I'm gonna take a break and then I'm gonna show you the AI-powered alarm clock. My next Kickstarter purchase coming up. But first, only can mean trouble. But first, a word from our sponsor, CashFly. When I say we're brought to you by CashFly, I mean quite literally, CashFly brings you our content. They're our content delivery network. For over 20 years, CashFly has held the track record for high-performing, ultra-reliable content delivery, serving over 5,000 companies in over 80 countries. Organizations like ours consistently choose CashFly for their scalability, their reliability, and their unrivaled performance. With CashFly, you get ultra-low latency video streaming. You can get video live delivered to over 1 million concurrent users at the same time. Lightning-fast gaming that delivers downloads faster with zero lag, zero glitches, zero outages. Oh, for websites, you'll love mobile content optimization. This is an automatic and simple, automatic, runs in the background image optimization tool that creates images for every size screen so your site loads faster no matter what kind of device your visitors are using. You'll get flexible month-to-month billing for as long as you need. You'll get discounts for fixed terms once you're happy. We did that. We designed our own contract, and you will too when you switch to CashFly. And by the way, you got to consider CashFly's elite managed packages. We have one. You get the VIP treatment. Your dedicated account manager will be with you from day one, ensuring smooth implementation and reliable 24/7 support when needed. Delivering rich media content up to 159% faster than other major CDNs. Join CashFly, the world's fastest CDN. We know, we've been with them for more than 10 years. Jumpstart your journey with CashFly. Get a complimentary first month or give it a whirl with a free 5-terabyte account. Just go to cashfly.com/twit, cashfly.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. Are you ready? It's a Kickstarter project. I love Kickstarter. As you know, I'm a sucker.
I stopped.
Somebody stop me, please.
Turkey.
You're going to want this. This is the...
Oh, look who's there. Gadget's there. Gizmo's there.
Gizmo.
Oh, look at the pretty
about
Gizmo.
Gadgets?
Oh, she wants her own robot. Or he wants his own robot.
She's a girl. She does want her own robot.
Yeah.
You'd be too powerful if
Shouldn't she be, if she's a girl, shouldn't she be Gizma?
That's probably true.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she's Gizmo.
Here is, maybe Gizmo would like this, the Poem 1, an AI rhyming clock.
Oh, God.
I made a clock that tells the time with poems composed by ChatGPT. One new poem every minute, every day. It's called Poem 1. The campaign details are below. Right now, I want to show you a demo.
He's smiling like, I know you're all idiots. You're going to give me money for this.
Easy rhyme. This is the very first prototype I made.
I could make this, John. I should make this with my Pimaroni.
You could get $60,000.
So I want him to show. Oh, here it is. Here's some poems.
Here's the development board. This is the screen and Wi-Fi module that'll be shipping.
All right, stop talking, Australian fellow. All right, here you go. This is a poem. With steam that rises, a cup so fine, 9:41. It's coffee time. How about that? God. There's only one problem. The clock strikes 1:38. Afternoon sun shines bright with fate. How do you like it?
Does it have the Joe Biden poem?
All right, that's fine.
There's one little problem. It hallucinates. Benji Edwards, writing for Ars Technica, says rhyming AI-powered clock sometimes lies about the time and makes up words. Now, he's doing all right. He's raised more than his goal already in the first couple of days of the Kickstarter. So Matt's going to be...
Okay, I will say, if somebody came at me with a Kickstarter that said, I'm pitching a clock that will lie to you about the time, I might donate to that. But if you pitch me as a clock that's supposed to tell me the time and then it lies to me about the time, no dice.
$126. You know what? I'm so tempted.
By what?
Leo, this is old Leo.
So let's see. You don't have to pay for the API.
He warns the guy has warned potential Kickstarter backers. Don't rely on this clock in situations where timekeeping is vital.
Well, let me. I'm just curious what his prompt is. So let me just tell me what time it is in a. I need it. I need an AI to write these AI prompts in a poem from ChatGPT 4. In the dance of the clock's subtle hand, where minutes and moments in silence stand, 12 hours past noon or midnight's veil, the current hour softly hails. Boy, this is going on and on.
This is really long.
This is like already in five.
One verse.
Okay,
and it never told you the time.
It didn't tell you the time. No.
Me one.
Give me the current
verse of poetry that tells me. Maybe it doesn't know.
Yeah, ask him what time is it.
It might not. It might actually not know that, huh? In the quiet night under starry dome, it's 11:27 p.m. Where James Rome?
Where is it 11?
Ask it. Somewhere. Ask it. It's probably also 2020.
By the way, it is, as we do this, 3:27 here, so it's in the UK, right?
So that's GMT.
Yeah,
GMT.
Oh, okay. And by the way, it'll write a little program for you. If
Python.
You want. Yeah, a little Python. Let's do this.
Ask it what date it is. What's the date today?
No, I could do this. I'm just going to say, give me a limerick telling the time in the Pacific Standard Time Zone,
the
right?
Current time. The current time.
Oh, yeah.
You might have to say U.S. Pacific.
Current.
It's a big world, Leo.
Okay, in the U.S. Pacific. I think, geez, you guys are such pedants. All right, here we go. Let's see.
It's the robot.
It's a robot. You got to.
Yeah, prompting is the new pedantry.
It is. It's the worst in programming, frankly. All right, boy, it has to think. It's gotta working hard on this. Okay, here we go. In a land where the Pacific waves sway, at a time when the sun lights the day, it's precisely, I find, 3:30 or 3:28. You'll unwind in the zone where the palm trees play. The time is accurate. That is accurate. So,
okay.
I still want to ask what day, what's the date today? Because I want to know if it's 2020 to its mind.
Oh, that's a good question. What is today's
I had a reason to ask
date? You don't have to have a reason. You can ask it anything.
GPT-4 is updated though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is GPT-4. This is
okay.
Analyzing today's date, January 31st, 2024. So there.
Well, it's got it.
I'm gonna have to say I love our AI overlords. I really do. I'm very happy.
Well, I know. We know that, Leo.
Yeah, and
we know that you love them.
Benito, take away his credit card before he buys that stupid thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, some are saying that you shouldn't call it a hallucination. You should call it a confabulation.
Yes, that's the term of art among the.
It's a confabulate because you know why? Because most people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
We got him. We got the kid who was doing a lot of swatting. I don't know if he's doing all the swatting. California teenager who allegedly uses the handle Tor Swats has been arrested and is being extradited to Florida. He's 17, but he will face adult felony charges in Florida. The FBI has actually, the way it happened is kind of interesting. He had swatted, or it was allegedly, I guess I have to say allegedly, swatted a number of well-known Twitch streamers, and they hired Brad Dennis, who's a private eye, and he's been hunting this kid for 2 years. Finally, was able to get some information that he sent to, I think maybe he engaged somebody, the PI, to use TorSwat's handle on a peer-to-peer chatting service called Tox under the guise of ordering a SWAT in December 2022. By recording the network traffic, he caught his IP address along with a username. In January of last year, he handed the evidence to FBI special agents. FBI then used that information to get subpoenas with YouTube and Discord. They were finally able to narrow it down. Wired, which wrote this article, thinks that the FBI knew his identity since last July. They executed a search warrant, seized his devices, and they got him. Whether he's the only one, I don't know, but it does send a strong message that this is not a joke. This is not a prank. This is a felony. And it should be. It's a deadly, deadly thing.
I mean, people get hurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love this story. I'm just going to do a silly one, if you don't mind. Okay. Do you know what an...
You have my permission.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Do you know what an agricultural air cannon is?
I could not figure out why this was...
I'm going to guess it's a cannon that shoots seeds.
Does not. The problem is Canadian geese. And this time of year...
Oh, these are the cannons that poof the geese.
I don't know. I think it scares them. I don't think it actually... But maybe it poofs them. I don't know. That's a good question. It doesn't impair them.
There's poofing.
But it was a problem in Corvallis, Oregon area. Farmers who are beset with Canadian geese overwintering in the Willamette Valley scare the geese with propane air cannons on timers. They're 120 dB, which is enough to actually damage your hearing. 5 gallons of gas gives them 18,000 booms. So, but the problem was January 5th, earlier this month, an air cannon began firing every 2 minutes all day and all night in the area, and it was driving neighbors crazy. This is an article by the guy who fixed the problem. Trying to figure out where they were, they drove around, they did all sorts of things. They figured out kind of where it was near the airport, but they couldn't pin it down more accurately. So what did they do? They did what any intelligent geek would do. He took 3 people stationed at remote locations using a synchronized clock on the cell phones. They each waited over the same 10-minute period, noting the exact time for each of the 5 Canon shots that we heard. So using that information, he wrote a Python script to triangulate based on the differential in times of the observers.
There is a literal triangle that he drew.
Yeah, here it is, the
for anyone
triangle.
listening.
And they were able to actually pinpoint the Canon. Here's the Python script.
Wow.
He wrote. They were actually able to pinpoint the Canon. He called the county tax assessor to find out the owner of the property, then called the owner, a farm, asked if they used an air cannon. They said, yeah, we do. I said, do you run it all night? They said, no, we'd never do that.
It's like Leo's Roomba.
20 minutes later, he called back saying, no, we don't run the cannons at night. And even then, you couldn't hear it more than a mile away. Well, weirdly enough, in an amazing coincidence, the air cannons stopped that very evening, and they have fallen silent ever since. So,
I love this story.
I do too. That's science at work, ladies and gentlemen. Math.
And you thought trig was going to be useless.
You see?
I don't even know if that's trig. I don't know what's trig.
Listen, I'm not even going to try and think what type of math
I think it's
that is,
geometry.
and
It's simple
I love that.
Geometry.
Simple
It's
geometry.
Probably.
Yeah, you could
It's
say,
SAT geometry.
Yeah. Bad news for TikTok. This is the last day TikTok will have access to Universal Music Group's music. They have not been able to make a deal. TikTok says Universal has put their own greed above the interests of their artists and songwriters.
I think that's true.
I think that is true.
Maybe. Universal says TikTok tried to bully them into a deal worth less than the previous pact. We want those numbers to go up, not down.
It's all negotiation. They're doing it in public. Just like the New York Times suing OpenAI. It's just negotiation.
Well, yeah, because the music will go away today. This is the last day. That includes, by the way,
songs.
Oh, everything owned by the UMG. No more licensing. Oh,
well,
you mean
if they did license it in the past, and I made a video with it in the past, I presume it's still okay.
But listen to who you lose. You lose your Taylor Swift, your Bad Bunny, your Sting, your Weeknd, your Alicia Keys, your SZA.
It's a right-wing plot.
SZA, Steve Lacy, Drake, Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar, Rosalia, Harry Styles, Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, Adele, U2, Elton John, J Balvin, Brandy Carlisle, Coldplay, Pearl Jam, Bob Dylan, and Post Malone.
Problem is I know who all these people are, so I don't think Gen Z cares.
Ah.
I mean, I don't think with Gen Z, it doesn't, the artist names aren't particularly relevant. It is just certain clips from songs can take off as backing for different TikTok trends. And from that, people discover new music.
Honestly, this takes the place of radio, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I was playing some TikTok. I apologize. This takes the place of a radio for some of these kids for song discovery. My son here uses, what is he using for this song? Clandestino by Manu Chao. So my son always uses music, but he uses very weird. I mean, he's got the strangest music in his stuff. So, I mean, from Edith Piaf but I think Taylor Swift, if I were Taylor Swift, I would be pretty upset. I would say,
I mean, I don't think Taylor Swift probably doesn't care.
She doesn't need it.
Yeah. No.
I think the artists that are being hurt are UMG's, any smaller artist.
Right. They're hurt more.
I mean, just this week, I was looking, there was some song, I think, called Touch Tank by Quinny that had been in my Spotify Discovery playlist. I had discovered it through months ago. And I was looking up the artist. I was like, where did this person come from? And it's like, that song had blown up from the artist releasing a short bit of it on TikTok.
Exactly.
And then she became a popular artist from that. That's how a lot of this happens nowadays.
Where did, it wasn't TikTok, where did Lil Nas X get started with his song?
I don't know. Was it YouTube?
I feel like it was not the normal way of getting started. Old Town Road. Let me see. I'm looking on Wikipedia for where he first published Old Town Road. He bought the beat for the song anonymously on BeatStars from a Dutch producer for $30, sampling a 9 Inch Nails track from their 6th studio album. Recorded it at a humble Atlanta studio on their $20 Tuesday. Took less than an hour to make it, and then he put it on TikTok. At Little Nas X.
I don't know how true this is, because this is from kickstartsidehustle.com, but it says numerous memes led to the creation of the hashtag Yeehaw Challenge on TikTok, which included the Old Town Road song, uploading videos of themselves drinking yee juice, then transforming into a cowboy or cowgirl to the beat of Old Town Road.
So this is what Wikipedia says. Lil Nas X began creating memes to promote Old Town Road, so he may well have created that meme before it was picked up by short-form video, social media, TikTok users. Yep. He estimated he made about 100 memes to promote it. It went viral. This is what Wikipedia says, too, in early 2019 due to the Yeehaw Challenge meme on TikTok.
Kickstartsidehustle.com, guys. That's where I get all my news.
I love that story. And isn't it, Jeff, that's kind of what we internet utopianists thought the internet would bring, is everybody gets a chance.
It's still there, Leo. It's just hidden. We have to find it. We have to look for it.
No, it's gatekept by algorithms now.
Yeah, that's the problem. And UMG and everybody, right? I think Mark Zuckerberg owes Little Nas X an apology. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not curated by people anymore is the problem. It's curated
algorithmic.
Yeah.
Well, so what do we do about that? Then we start new services to do just that. I was talking to a newspaper guy today, and he said, is there a role for us? I said, yes, there is. Go find in New Jersey. There's 400 people trying to do local news in New Jersey. Who's good? Who's bad? Help direct us. Help curate manually. Yes. Where you see a problem, look for the opportunity.
We are doing for Stacy's book club. Stacy still she was on Twit on Sunday. Stacy Higginbotham, our former host, and Stacy's.
So she leaves Twig, but she can be on the rest of the network. Oh, I see, Stacy, huh? Oh, it's okay. We got Paris.
Anyway,
I'm holding down the fort the best I can.
You're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job.
Great job. Stacy's going to be back with her book club on Thursday, February 6th. No, sorry, 8th at 3 p.m. And we're doing a book called The Water Knife, which is a really interesting dystopian novel about kind of end of the world and due to climate change. And one of the protagonists is a journalist, a female journalist. She files on the socials. She's not working for any publication, but she's written 2 books already, and she has a bunch of followers, and it's all hashtag based. So she owns the hashtag Phoenix Down the Tubes, because part of the book takes place in a Dust Bowl, Phoenix. And it's really interesting because this is Paolo Bacigalupi's, the author's vision of journalism in 20 years. And I don't think he maybe is far off. Maybe that is the future, is, you own the hashtag. That's as good as owning the New York Times in some ways, right? If people follow that hashtag. Anyway, we'll be talking about that. That'll be fun. February 8th, Stacy's Book Club, The Water Knife. I'll be hosting along with Stacy at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, Aunt. Aunt, you can join us if you want. And just be glad you didn't read the book. I can tell you it is grim. But I mean, it's a dystopian.
Great advertisement for book club.
It's a dystopian future. Well, but it's got as good science fiction does, raises a lot of interesting questions and ideas. And one of them is, the future of journalism. And it's kind of interesting. Anyway, sorry. Everybody's saying how terrible that book sounds. I should not have mentioned the end of the world part of it. If you're not a member of Club Twit, though, you can't participate. So please join Club Twit. That's just one of many things we do inside the Club Twit Discord. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get the access to the Discord. You get the Twit Plus feed. And you get shows that we don't put out in public, like the Untitled Linux Show, and Home Theater Geeks, and Hands on Windows, and Hands on Mac, and so much more. If you're not yet a member of the club, can I invite you to join twit.tv/clubtwit. $7 a month. There's a family plan, there's corporate plans, and it helps us an awful lot going forward. We do not like the current climate for journalism, and we realized a couple of years ago we were going to have to go our own way, and I think the club is the way we're doing it. So thank you in advance. We really appreciate your help, and I think we have a lot of great things planned for this year, but we need you to join the club to do it. Let's see. All right, we are now in your territory, kids. What do we going to talk about?
There's lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Ring is going to, I thought I did this last week, didn't I? Maybe I did it in Twit. Ring is going to stop letting police request videos from security cameras. They make the Ring doorbells. They were a longtime advertiser before Amazon bought them. And they were getting a lot of criticism because they had a way for law enforcement to request video from the doorbell. The homeowner would have to agree. But the issue wasn't so much the homeowner, but the neighbors, because the homeowner has a video camera pointed at the street and all the neighbors, and police were asking for it. Excuse me. Ring has announced, or they announced this week, that the company is shutting down that feature. They will, if law enforcement wants it, they'll have to subpoena it unless it's an emergency. That does happen. You know, there's a murder happening across the street, or we got a SWAT call. We want to see what's going on across the street. Can we ask the person for the video? And I think, you know, if you think about it, that's probably pretty useful for police. Police were able to send private email requests for footage previously, so now they'll have to get a warrant or a subpoena to do that. Good, right? Or not?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, definitely good.
Yep. Let's see here. I
think it's interesting that. Sorry, continue.
No, you go. No.
I was saying, I think it's interesting that Elon Musk had his $55 billion Tesla pay package struck down by a judge.
Yes, that's a good one.
Recently in court.
The shareholders had sued, right?
He hates all of Delaware now.
Delaware says...
Yeah, I mean, a Tesla stockholder named Richard Turnetta sued. It's interesting because most of Elon Musk's biggest shareholders, and certainly the Tesla board, are such big Musk fanboys. They were like, yeah, $55 billion sounds great. You can totally have that. But when you're a public company, that means even if 99% of the shareholders love you and will give you anything you want, no matter what you do, if 1% are like, actually, I think that's unfair, you can sue for it. And the judge can look into it.
Remember, it was the same court, the Delaware Court of Chancery, that made Elon buy Twitter.
He hates Delaware. He's going to buy Delaware.
That cost him $44 billion, and now the court is saying, yeah, and by the way, you can't keep that money that they gave you, $55 billion. The process. This is Chancellor. It's the Court of Chancery, so the judges are called chancellors. Kathleen McCormick writing. In her opinion, the process leading to the approval of Musk's compensation plan was deeply flawed, citing Musk's extensive ties with board members, his pals, who negotiated the most recent pay deal with which shareholders approved, by the way, in 2018, $55.8 billion.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, he doesn't take a salary.
The court's right. Well, but he also wants to double his equity stake in Tesla, or else I'm taking my toys elsewhere.
Yeah. He's the 13% owner of Tesla shares. He wants more control. He says, if I don't have enough control, if I don't have 25% of the company, I'm going to do all of our AI research outside of Tesla, and they won't get the benefit of it. Musk tweeted, never incorporate your company in the state of Delaware. By the way, we are an LLC incorporated in the state of Delaware.
Most companies are incorporated in the state of Delaware. It's famously very, forgiving for companies and also private.
I don't know why I did it way back in 2005 when I, filed our LLC papers. We're in California. We still have to pay California, corporate taxes and stuff. It doesn't get you off the hook for that. But Kevin Rose told me, no, you should always file in Delaware. So I figured if anybody knows, Kevin Rose knows. I think the theory at the time was it's if you're going to be acquired by a company or venture capitalists are going to invest in you, they prefer it. It's easier for them. There's less paperwork.
I'm a New Jersey LLC myself.
Are you? Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Buzz Machine LLC.
The board, Tesla board, can appeal the decision to the Delaware Supreme Court with actual judges, or they can negotiate a new compensation package. Musk will not lose any Tesla shares he already owns under the compensation package.
I am trying to find this because I do not think I made it up, but I remember reading at the time that, part of the explanation for why they ended up voiding it is the judge was like, we think the board of directors and everyone who approved this is too close to Elon and not acting in the best interests of the company or the shareholders. And I believe there was an aside where it's like, one of the lawyers involved or the directors cried when he was talking about how much he loved Elon Musk.
Oh, my Lord.
That was probably the smoking gun or the crying director, as they say now.
Yeah, the crying director. Yeah.
Wow. They're kind of cronies. And what the court said is they never asked the question, do we have to pay him that much to keep him? Because, obviously you have to compensate CEOs enough if they're that valuable to keep them there. Elon's not going to leave Tesla. Maybe he is. Who knows? Maybe
it'd be better for Tesla if he did.
Yeah.
Well, would it be better for his 5 other companies that he's also CEO of? Maybe.
I don't know. I don't understand how any of that works. What else? Do you want to talk about the Information's Creators Summit?
Yeah, we are, like we did last year, doing a creator economy summit led by our phenomenal creator economy reporter, Kaya Uref. It is a fantastic event. It's going to be on Tuesday, April 2nd. We still have not published the name of the speakers, but it's always phenomenal. I think last year we had the D'Amelio family there. It ends up being just a really, I've been to a lot of, news events, and many of them suck and are kind of just facile. But the thing I really like about the Information's events is not only we have our reporting team usually leading the panels, as well as our editors. We have an incredible events team that puts a lot of thought into what are going to be some of the most interesting and insightful topics. And this one is going to be fantastic. It's in LA in April.
So what amused me, I put this in the rundown, was it's at a Ritz. I would think that a creator summit would be at a Red Roof Inn.
Well, the cost of the tickets from $350 to $1,000, and but you do
that will make
you do get a discount on a room at the Ritz, so there's that.
I was going to say, if I end up going, I will not be staying at the Ritz. I know that for certain.
Oh, really?
No.
Putting on the Ritz. Wow, I am jealous of Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes. You know who they are? Does that ring a bell?
Podcasters.
Yeah.
yes.
Famous pod.
Kind of Jason
They're
Bateman.
competition, Leo.
Kind of famous. Will Arnett, kind of famous. Sean Hayes, kind of famous. They do the Smart Less podcast, which they just sold to SiriusXM for 3 years for $100 million.
Amazing.
Dr. Evil voice.
I hadn't heard of this podcast myself.
Nor had I.
Well, you're in the minority. It's a very highly rated. Lots of people listen to it. Podcast. It's interesting that SiriusXM, which has a podcast network, even though they're a satellite radio network, sees a future in podcasting. I'm very glad, frankly.
The funny thing is that
Amazon,
Howard Stern has been making fun of podcasts for years, and now he can't because it's his part of the company.
Parent company. Amazon was the publisher of it. They paid.
They got paid a lot of money by
Amazon,
by Amazon.
$60 to $80 million over 3 years to distribute it, but they were outbid. Amazon. It was a Wondery podcast, actually, is the original thing. I think, one thing that is probably the case is that podcasts hosted by celebrities continue to do well, right?
And these are
because
comedians
advertisers
too,
are
so-
stupid.
And they're comedians.
Yeah,
They're funny.
because
It's different. Yeah.
They're funny.
I mean, I think it's largely about, how are you going to convince advertisers to pay money to be on the show? And if you can say, these are our hosts, you're halfway there.
To get advertisers, but for the good show, that's because they're comedians.
Yeah.
Have you listened to it, Benito, Smartless?
I have not, no.
All right, I have an assignment for you, Jeff. I want you to listen to Smartless this week and do a book report.
When did I get the homework?
Jeff looks like he's been shot.
I'm retired.
I was going to say, it's because you're unemployed, Jeff.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a podcast that connects and unites people from all walks of life to learn about shared experiences through thoughtful dialogue.
That's the worst.
That's the description
I've
I hear
ever
before
heard.
I have a stroke.
You know what's even worse? Look at their
Thoughtful
website. Maybe they could take some of that $100 million and make a decent website out of it.
Oh, boy.
And this doesn't even scroll. It's like, this is it. It's just like,
but there's merch, Leo.
There's merch. Well, there's no money.
All right, let's see the merch.
I can tell you there's no money in merch. Oh, wait a minute.
Look at their guests.
So they
Okay,
have
look at the
celebrities.
guests. Penelope Cruz, Mark Ruffalo, Mike Birbiglia, Selena Gomez,
Selena
Adam
Gomez.
Driver, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Santa. Top billing.
Emma
Well, no
Stone.
wonder.
Do they do video or just audio?
I don't know. Let's watch.
I think it's video as well.
Is it? No, it looks like it's just audio.
Oh?
Okay.
Don't hit the snooze. This mom, we got Penelope Cruz.
Listen.
Down, and I'm noticing your legs. You're wearing some shorts today.
Thank
Why?
you.
Why?
By the way, first of all, let me just say.
By the way, that's the state of the art in podcasting today.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
We're funny too.
No, we're not.
But you don't get the laugh track going. We prove it to
Maybe
you.
we should just run that laugh track. Maybe that'd help. So here's your
Real
smart
quick,
list.
let me get Penelope Cruz real quick.
Can you get Penelope Cruz on the horn?
Could you tell Penelope she can come out from back? We thought we'd hold off on her, but she can come out if she wants.
I'd go for Emma Stone myself. I think.
Oh, okay.
Here's the Smartless merch. You got your T-shirts. You got your mugs.
This looks like an AI-generated brand. I'm sure that
does.
And
this is
apparently
deeply meaningful
Their
for someone.
tagline is "Bye." So, bye. Oh, I'm not mocking it. I'm just insanely jealous. That's all. 100 million schmackers, but that's not. I mean, that's how much they got from Amazon almost for the last 3 years. And the funny thing is, they don't even need the money. They're doing it from their mansions in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Share
always
the
how it
wealth,
works, Leo.
guys.
It's always rich people getting richer, right?
The rich get richer. Podcasters go out of business. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. HP's CEO said the quiet part out loud. he said, people who buy printers are investments, and the investment doesn't pay off if they go to a third party for their ink. So they're practically like pirates. CEO Enrique Lores talking with CNBC about the lawsuit over HP's software updates that block third-party ink cartridges. He says, I think it's important for us to protect our intellectual property. There's a lot of IP we built into the ink of the print heads, in the print heads itself, in the printers. What we're doing is, when we identify cartridges that are violating our intellectual property rights, we stop the printer from working. So then
cut 'em off
Squawkbox
at the knees.
So Squawkbox host says, so they're ripoffs, they're counterfeit, and you're going to break the printer as a result. In many cases, says Lors, it could be. It can create all sorts of issues, from the printers stop working because the inks have not been designed to work in our printers, to even creating security issues. We have seen you can embed a virus in the cartridge, through the cartridge, to the printer, from the printer to the network, so it could create many more problems. It would be a shame.
You don't want to be
if-
printing a virus.
Yeah, you don't want to be printing a virus.
I just curse. I refuse to get HP. I can never hook them up.
Don't.
So I have a brother.
You have a brother? I have a Canon.
So my brother broke, so I got another brother. And I realized after
your brother and you?
Yes.
It's another popular podcast.
Exactly. It has no USB. I couldn't figure out how to mail scans to me, get scans out of it. The instructions are mind-bending, and there's no way to figure that out. It's the app. I can get something scanned to my phone and then email from the phone to me. I hate all these companies. I hate them. Why hasn't there been a great Kickstarter for an honestly good open source printer? I ask.
Well, I think it's because printers cost more money to make than they sell them for.
Yeah.
And how they make money is the ink.
In
So
fact,
people probably don't want to buy $1,000.
That's exactly
I don't know how much I bought my
printers are
Canon
$70.
color
They're
image
cheap.
class duplex.
It'd be
printer
cheaper
for,
to
but
buy
it's great.
a new printer just for the cartridges. Just throw out the printer
Mm-hmm.
and keep the cartridges. Laura's finally said our long-term objective at HP is to make printing a subscription.
Screw you, HP.
Don't buy HP printers. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Oh, this made me so mad. And it's you know what? In all the coverage that I've seen everywhere of Apple's nerd helmet, the Vision Pro, which I am skeptical. Now, you're a young person. I'm sure, Paris, you're excited about the future of computing.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, you're not going to buy one, but maybe Jessica or Sam will buy one.
Buy what?
A Vision Pro headset. You didn't even know what we were talking about. You had no idea what we were talking about, did you? You thought we were talking about HP printers.
I thought all I heard was you're excited about the future of computing. I would never.
A nerd helmet. Yes.
The Vision Pro is not the future of computing, Leo.
Okay,
Although I
thank
assume you already have ordered one, right?
No. Well, technically, I guess because we bought one for Micah, not me. And Lisa says he has to return it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so actually Friday we're going to have the unboxing. But already the people who on YouTube with the big audiences, here's some more Schadenfreude, or no, what's the opposite of Schadenfreude? Depressive sadness. Jealousy.
Depressive sadness.
Yeah. The people who are big celebrities on YouTube have already had Marquez Brownlee put out 2 videos already after 6 days with it. An unboxing video, which got more than, I think last I looked, 3 or 4 million views. And in 4 hours, his review, which came out this morning, already had 2 million views. And I think he's well beyond that, which means he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising on those videos. So the people are making money on these, not Apple. Apple's, I'm sure, losing money on it, but the people who are making money on it are the YouTube celebrities.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll make any money on our unboxing of our.
Well, Micah can continue a tradition that I started many years ago with the iPad.
Yeah.
And do a reboxing video.
Yeah. I think we'll do a reboxing. Yeah. Actually, given that Apple has spent billions on this and really is positioning it as a future of computing, they're calling it spatial computing, and really hoping this will take off. The reviews have been less than warm.
God, did you see the videos of what video chatting in this looks
It's
like? It looks
nightmarish.
awful.
Yeah, Joanna Stern at Wall Street Journal had a video chat with Marquez Brownlee, Brian Tong, and iJustine, and it was creepy as heck. But this is, in all this coverage, hours and hours of coverage, nobody's mentioned this. And I'm actually really pleased that this web developer at Tonsky.me has mentioned this. So you need a little history on this. Since time immemorial, ever since we had a mouse and check boxes, square boxes are for checks, right? You check them. That means you have multiple choices. You check them. And then the round boxes, we call them radio buttons, are one choice, right? There can only be, right? And when you click a radio button, the other one unclicks, right? Check, multiple choice, right? If this goes back to the 90s, here's a Turbo Pascal dialog box from 1992 where the radio buttons are parenthesis, and the check boxes are square bracket. This is from time immemorial. Well, get ready, because and it used to be Apple was really the promoter of this kind of consistency in UI. The Vision Pro does not follow this convention. Let me scroll down to the bottom, show you the Vision Pro. This is the Vision OS. The checkboxes are round. They're not radio buttons.
It looks so wrong. It looks like a Twitter verified signal.
It doesn't look right, does it?
It looks like somebody screwed up and did the impossible.
Yeah. So RIP the square checkbox, because the future of computing apparently is this.
It's confusing.
Yeah. It's a little disappointing.
God, I love this. Thank you, Tonsky.me.
Yeah.
This is the journalism we need.
This is the kind of yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Maybe that was, I forget where I found that. Yeah.
Really? I think you, I don't know. I think I shared it originally, but maybe not. It's Nicky, N-I-K-I, Tonsky, T-O-N-S-K-I. He is.
You're trying to take credit for our half of the rundown.
I know. I don't know why it's not in my half.
This is down here in the kids' zone.
I know. It's at the kids' table, but I put it.
Yeah, that's our Shirley Temple while you're drinking the wine.
I'm so sure.
We kept asking for them to put liquor in this part of the Excel sheet, but they didn't let us.
Look, here it is right here. Oh, you know what? I didn't put it. I put it for Mac Break Weekly, not for Twig.
Oh, yeah.
Like your other shows.
I put it for the other show, and I put it for Twig, but I didn't put it for Twig.
We get stuck
your
with the
other
air
shows
cannon.
that you love so much.
It's just an oversight. That's all. I think it's interesting. Nobody's going to talk about this. Maybe I'll talk about it on Mac Break Weekly, too.
I mean, that is interesting, though. It, I think speaks to the strange place that Apple is
weird.
Today.
Yeah.
The Apple of yesteryear would never in a million years allowed something to ship with a design oversight like this.
Jobs would have said no.
Somebody should have said no. Here is the Vegas Loop offering at full capacity. Part of our This Week in Tunnels.
Yes, this is my submission for This Week in Tunnels.
I was hoping to see a traffic jam where they all stopped in the tunnel, Paris. I'm a little disappointed.
Listen, I'm sure that, that would happen, but this is a video of a Tesla fanboy very earnestly saying, wow, the Las Vegas Loop Tunnel at full capacity. And for those listening, it is about 1, 2... 3 Teslas have now entered the tunnel. It is going slow, but it's full capacity, baby.
And each one has a driver. These are not autonomous. So the full capacity
a driver
is 4
and
passengers.
2 other passengers.
2 passengers.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Or 3 total people in the car.
Yeah, and it doesn't go very far. Although apparently Vegas has agreed to have the boring company bore more holes underneath the rest of Las Vegas. For this incredible, he invented. There seems to be a name for something when you have a tunnel underground and you have people transported underground. Like I don't know, it's kind of under. It's under sidewalk. We could call it the subwalk.
You mean it's a hyperloop, Leo? There's clearly a name for that.
A hyperloop.
It's the hyperloop.
It's the subwalk.
That's what they're doing. They're hyperlooping.
He invented the subwalk. All right, let's do a Google changelog because I want to go home. Benito apparently does not want me to go home.
He thought we hadn't done AI yet.
There's AI too. Well, this is going to merge the two. Are you ready? From Google Research, Lumiere, a space-time diffusion model for video generation. So it lets you write a text prompt and generate video. Let's see. This is a golden retriever puppy running in the park, autumn, beautiful leaves on the ground, and it actually works. Here's a chocolate syrup pouring on vanilla ice cream.
Jason said when he explained this to me that it's whereas oftentimes in video it loses the track of things, this keeps better track.
Well, I don't know if this was
There's
really
a horrifying video of the Mona Lisa yawning.
This is how she reacts when people throw soup at her. She's not happy.
It does look like she's in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Here's the girl with the pearl earring, winking and smiling. It's kind of wild. A man smiling and waving. Is that Sir Isaac Newton? Wow.
He's got the same face as the Mona Lisa.
She's not looking good. But she's been around for a few years. Panda Eden. Anyway, this is a new, I presume Gemini-powered, a video-to-text diffusion model designed for synthesizing videos that portray realistic, diverse, and coherent motion. Hard to do motion. Is that what Jason said? Here is...
wow. I saw a Gary Marcus post that I put up about an image that the way he explains it is that AI is good at knowing what pixel goes next to what pixel or what word goes next to what word, but holding on to a notion through even one image or through a video is much harder. So that's supposedly what makes this better, because it holds on to that logic.
Briefly, about 5 years ago, there was a trend called the cinematograph. Remember those?
Yeah, I'm still subscribed to r/cinematograph.
Yeah. So people take a still image and they animate part of it, and you can use this Lumiere to do this as well. But actually much better than the old cinemagraphs. I mean, this really, look at the butterfly. It actually makes it look like the butterfly's alive.
I could go to sleep with that.
Yeah, if they could do the sound too.
You just have to add a woman laughing in the background. And
it has in-painting, so you can expand it. You could take the source. So this is a real video of a woman walking in the daisies in a dress, and you could change her outfit. Here's an owl. You could put a crown on it. So this is very cool. This is a research project, lumiere-video.github.io. It comes from Google, and you can also see it if you search for Lumiere on YouTube. Google has significantly reduced the CAPTCHA free tier. I can only hope that means we'll see fewer reCAPTCHAs. This is just the most nightmarish thing. It is no longer. I didn't know this, but they had a free reCAPTCHA service, which is probably why you saw it everywhere. But they're going to charge you a little bit more. It's not going to be as good a deal. Which I think
stop using it, sites.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible.
Because the AI can do it already. Computers can already read those. So what are you doing?
It was never effective. In fact, it turns out the robots are better at these reCAPTCHAs than humans are. I find them very difficult.
So how are these companies still alive? How is this?
Who does the CAPTCHAs where you have to slide the puzzle piece? Because I hate that.
I hate that. And that's the TikToks uses that one, right? I hate that. Yeah.
There's also some really strange, off-putting one that Twitter now uses. I don't know how to describe it, but it's jarring. I get a lot of CAPTCHAs because the way I browse the internet is insane, and every website I go to thinks I'm a machine doing a bad job. So I just have, I don't know, I will do very specific Google searches for when I'm researching something, and then I will open 30 to 50 tabs at once and then go through all of them. And I multiple times a day get some little pop-up that says, the way you're browsing looks like a computer. Please answer me these riddle 3. And I do.
I hate that
every time.
In Paris's active imagination, reCAPTCHA has an accent.
Oh, it's the guy guarding the bridge in the Monty Python.
It's the Sphinx, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's exactly who I was picturing in my head.
That's what I thought.
Spatial imagination.
That's what I thought. Yes, vividly, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I only intellectually saw it. I imagine.
I know you only intellectually understand the concept of Monty Python
of life,
Puzzle Master. Yeah,
honestly, frankly, the whole thing's an intellectual pursuit for me. I don't understand how you guys actually live. Google has...
Not many people do.
No, it's a mystery. Certainly a mystery to me. Google has... Do either of you use Google's password manager in Chrome as your password manager?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Not willingly.
Well...
Mine, it fills passwords in and I don't want it to.
Yeah, I turn it off immediately on all my browsers.
I've got it off, but it goes back on all the time. It's a constant struggle. I feel like Jeff.
I prefer our sponsor, Bitwarden. However, if you are using Chrome as your password manager, maybe you'll like this, Jeff. If you have a Pixel, they've pushed this out as part of the feature drop from last week. Google's password manager can look at the accounts you've got passwords for and will let you know which ones support passkeys and give you a chance to turn them on.
Oh,
that's nice of them.
Cool.
Isn't that great? Paul Thurrott noticed this and mentioned it in his blog, Thurrott.com. You have to have a Pixel 5a with 5G or newer phone or a Fold or a tablet, and you have to obviously use the password manager built into Chrome or Android, the Google Password Manager. When you open the password manager on a supported device, you'll see a new Simplify Your Sign-In section that will detail whether any of the accounts it knows about support passkeys, and if so, you can tap them and add a passkey to it, which means you won't have to type the password ever again.
Cool.
I'm coming around to passkeys. The more I use it, the more I like it. And Google has released an eSIM transfer tool quietly. They did say they would support this across all devices at Mobile World Congress last year, but they have now, according to Android Police, added the feature. It's going to be available on the S24 during the setup period, which will make it easier. Now, we've had this feature in iPhones. In fact, it's mind-boggling. When I got the new iPhone, I didn't have a SIM. Normally you'd pop the SIM out of the old phone, put it in the new phone, and make it your phone. But how do you do it with an eSIM? Well, Apple made it very easy. It says, I see your other phone. You want me to transfer the SIM over? You do. Now you can do that with the Pixel 8 and the Samsung S24. Very handy feature. And that is the Google changelog. All right. In a moment, our Picks of the Week segment. One last chance for me to ask you, dear Twig listener, to do our survey if you haven't done it already. We want to get every show represented in the survey. It ends this month, today. So if you haven't taken it, twit.tv/survey24. It literally just takes a few minutes. Don't worry if you don't have all the options that you like or whatever. Just give us the best information you can. It helps us know you better. It's the only thing we do at all to find out who you are, and we use that information in aggregate, not as an individual user, but just in general to tell advertisers, how many women in the audience, how many men, that kind of thing. twit.tv/survey24, and I thank you in advance. Time for the Picks of the Week. I'm going to start. I'm going to do one.
Ooh,
Whoa.
You've got a pick? You grace us with your pick?
I shall grace you with my pick, and I don't know how long this is going to last. I just thought it was really cool. It's free right now. It's called cooked.wiki. Do you keep track of recipes? This is a really handy way to do it. It is free. The website is cooked.wiki. You'll create an account, and the way you add recipes is unique. So let me see. I want a good recipe for fudgy brownies, right? So let me just do a Google search, as one does. For the this looks good. Let's try this one. Best fudgy cocoa brownies. Okay. Now, as often is the case when you go to a website with a recipe, you have to scroll through an infinite scroll of stuff before you get to the actual recipe. But you like it? Looks good, doesn't it? Well, watch this. All I do is I add cooked.wiki / to the beginning of the URL. It gets opened in the Cook Wiki, and they import the recipe. Beautiful. Isn't that nice? They give you the link to the original. You can change portions. You can do a grocery list. It gives you can annotate it, and I'm going to save it. And now these fudgy brownies are part of my recipe book. It is a really nice and easy way. Now, there's one little flaw in this, which kind of bugs me. I pay for the New York Times recipes. I know you do too, Paris, right? Yeah,
I do.
Really good recipes. Really good stuff. But so let's say I met the recipe of the day, the Korean style barbecue meatballs. I really want to save this because I want to cook this tonight.
I'm guessing it doesn't because it's technically you're signed in to see that recipe right now.
Exactly. So I just put cooked.wiki in front of it. Oh, it's not even doing anything. Let me try that again. Maybe the New York Times has figured out a way to thwart it. Cooked.wiki / we kindly ask you do not use this service to bypass paywalled web pages. As you can see, I am not paywalled. I pay for it, but it won't import it. That is the only flaw, unfortunately, to this. Because if I could put my New York Times recipes in there, man, this would be golden. You can share your recipes. It categorizes them automatically. You can have a journal.
Does the New York Times recipe have a recipe box where you save your recipes there?
Yeah, in the app.
But it's just in the app, right? I mean, and so you can create a shopping list. There's all sorts of interesting things. I guess the shopping list, you have to be a patron, But right now it's completely free for everything but that. And it does
So
a nice
little
job.
story from the early internet when we started Epicurious way back when. And at Condé Nast, we had all this opportunity of all the gourmet and all the Bon Appetit recipes, but there was no digital form for them.
Right.
And scanning them would not work because of all the odd typography of fractions and all this stuff. So my friend Joan Feeney, who headed Epicurious, went and hired, honest to God, monks. They were
in a
typing
scriptorium.
Yes. It was the ultimate new scriptorium where monks made their living by typing things.
Wow, typing, not illuminating, not writing in their little.
I want to watch a whole documentary about those monks.
Monks
Wouldn't it be
doing
great?
the recipes. Wow.
And on the weekends we make beer. I guess I don't know.
Let me see. I just went to Epicurious, and their recipe of the day is skillet chicken parmesan with gnocchi. That sounds good. I've added cooks.
Great.
Doesn't that look good? I've added cooked.wiki to it, generating. There you go. There's the recipe. Makes 4 portions, but you could scale it up. Isn't that
That's
great?
what's really impressive too, is the calculation.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I have software that does this. I use Paprika and so forth. But this is free, and it's a wiki, which I love, and you can share it. It's a great way to import
Who made
recipes. Just, some guy, I guess. It literally does not say.
Love it when some guy does that.
Or gal. It does not say.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really cool idea. More than just a cookbook. It's social. It's I don't know.
This feels like a modern version of the old internet.
It is. It's a wiki, right? It's made in Lisbon by Eduardo Gonçalves. So there you go. The Portuguese are the best in the world, and they know how to eat.
A good tip, Leo.
All right,
fantastic pick.
Yes,
when I found that, I thought, I got to tell my friends here. You know what I need is a good cacio e pepe recipe. I'm gonna look for that.
I'm gonna break it down for you here. Cacio and pepe.
The two together at last. It is about you're right. It's about the simplest pasta dish you can make.
Paris, this is a long-standing joke on the show. Is that one thing that Jeff likes is Trader Joe's frozen cacio e pepe,
which is even easier.
How? Why? How hard is it to make pasta?
Well, for me, pretty hard.
So here it is. You bring water to a boil. You put in some pasta. You cook it.
It's a 3-step recipe.
It's got pepper and Parmesan. That's it.
Up.
Butter, pepper, and Parmesan.
Believe me.
Cacio e pepe. All right. Anyway, that's my pick.
When I was a young man looking for love, long before I met my wife.
The most eligible bachelor in San Francisco.
It was even earlier than that in Chicago. I was very young, and I was having a young lady over for dinner, and I got my mother's pumpkin chiffon pie recipe because I knew that would win her heart and stomach. And so I read the recipe my mother had written out for me very patiently, and I said, "That's the thing about cooking; it makes no sense. 1 1/4 C period canned pumpkin. Aren't cans different sizes?" I put in 1 1/4 cans.
Oh no. Oh
and
no.
then I realized at that moment.
Oh no. The C does not stand for cans.
I had to go through major, and this is before Google, folks. I had to go through major math calculations to figure out how much pumpkin to take out.
The C does not stand for can.
By the way,
such a funny phrase.
It's funny because I just got Bon Appetit's pumpkin chiffon pie recipe, and what does it need?
Oh, really?
1 1/4 cups pumpkin pie from a can.
Hey.
Pumpkin mix. Hey.
Yeah.
So times do not change.
Maybe they stole that from my mother.
They do not change. What is your? I'll tell you what. Let's mix it all up. What's your number of the week, Mr. Jarvis?
Oh, okay, well, I'm going to do a couple things here because one thing that since we ignored the entirety of AI, I want to mention
we did a few of those stories anyway.
Yeah, we did. It's fine.
Do you want to hear about AI? Watch Jeff's other podcast.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't
watch
plug
Jeff's other podcast, the one he
right, for AI.
and Jason Howell stole from this network. No, we gave it to you. We said here.
We had a great interview this week.
Oh yeah,
with Sven. I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong, so I won't even try. The Chief Digital and Technology Officer for Schibsted, the brilliant, really best news company in the world in Norway, talking about AI. Anyway, line 73, Leo.
Where can we find that podcast, though, first? Before
AIinside.show. Thank you for asking.
AIinside.show. Yeah, Jeff and Jason, we're working on that in the club. Of course, we had to let Jason go, and this is why you got to join the club. I hate losing our most talented people, but I'm very pleased that Jason is going to continue.
And we're very grateful that you allowed us to.
AI Inside is now AI Inside outside of Club.
Yes, it is now outside the club, which actually is good because everybody can listen to it.
Sven Stürmer Taulo.
Nice.
So anyway, an AI, the first useful AI app I've seen in a long time, because a lot of it, you just wonder why you're going to get it. Line 73. This app describes your screenshots.
Oh.
Ooh.
Right? Doesn't that just click with you saying, I need that? I've got hundreds of screenshots. I knew I took a screenshot of it. I'll never find it again. This describes your screenshot.
I wish I had some screenshots. I could try it.
I know.
It's called Keep It Shot, as a little play on Keep It Short, right? And it's online at keepitshot.com. See, I really feel like it's these little things that really AI, it's going to be so great.
This is the kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Kind of stuff. It's great.
It's this little stuff, the tasks that it can actually do for you that are actually useful, that you otherwise wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Or too much trouble. Is going to be great. So, all right, that was my one. So I'm going to do this week in moral panic. So there was a moral panic about crosswords.
What?
The Guardian reported 12 years ago from the 1920s. Everywhere at any hour of the day, people can be seen quite shamelessly poring over the checkerboard diagrams, cudgeling their brains for a 4-letter word meaning molten rock or a 6-letter word meaning idler.
The horror.
Twice within the past week or so, there have been reports of police magistrates sternly rationing addicts to 3 puzzles a day, with an alternative of 10 days in the workhouse.
What? Come on.
Picture theaters are also complaining that crosswords keep people at home. They get immersed in a problem and forget all about Gloria Swanson, Lillian Gish, and the other stars of the film Constellation. So I found this, of course, amusing because I collect moral panics, and I wish I had this in time to put in the book.
Hysterical.
Sneak it in. Isn't it great?
That's so good. Wow.
A girl asked a busy grocer to name the different brands of flour he kept. When he had done so, expecting a sale, she said she didn't want to buy any. She just thought one of the names might fit into a crossword puzzle she was doing.
Wow. I love crosswords.
Isn't this great?
I love crosswords. I do them all the time.
I will say I did see evidence of this today on the train. I looked around in my morning commute, and there were 6 people playing the crossword. It's taken over our society.
Right. So this leads me to...
Oh, go ahead. Because I was just going to say this is very good for the New York Times, I think, because that's the...
Well, in fact, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So people, this is. I have been arguing against Wordle. I think it is awful. People sharing it. I hated it. And it is the ruin. And we have a moral panic about it because people played it 8 billion times.
Billion.
Last year.
With a B.
Billion.
Yeah. And it's great.
I think that's fine.
And Lisa and I have a little Wordle competition. The other, I'm going to bed, she said Wordle in 3. And I take that as a serious challenge. I gotta do it. The only problem with that is we share a single New York Times subscription. So if she does it before me,
so it's a threat.
I have to do it in incognito mode because she's already solved it. Times is not dumb. I tend to do the crosswords. I have it on my phone. I love having and connections. Have you done connections? I love that. It's so much fun.
Great.
NYT Games app was downloaded 10 million times last year. The company's, while players made 2.3 billion successful connections, whatever that is.
You haven't. Oh, wait a minute.
Do this stuff.
Have you played Connections, Paris?
Oh, Paris.
We've played Connections on this show.
Oh, we have. Oh, all right.
Yes.
Shoot. You mean you don't want to do
and
it
right now? And it was the sounds of Benito and John shouting out the answers from off mic, if I recall correctly, as we're about to do once again.
Sometimes it's so frustrating. So there's 16 words here, and we have to group them into 4 groups of 4. John, you don't want to do it? You couldn't get this one. All right. Well, choir, glee.
I have played this game only once before, and it was on the show, so
Oh, wait a
I'm
minute.
going to be bad at this.
How about glee, mirth? Mirth, glee.
Cheer.
But then what's festivity? You only get 4 incorrect guesses. That was correct. That's merriment.
There we go. Merriment.
Merriment.
Orchestra,
All right.
band.
Orchestra,
and
band.
Choir.
And one more, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no.
Could it be officiant?
Friar, fire,
orchestra.
barbecue.
Okay, caterer, florist, officiant.
These are all people at a wedding.
Band. Yeah, a wedding.
People at a wedding. Very good. I love it. I think you're right. Yes, you are.
Oh.
Now we're down to the last 2. There's 8 words left. Snake, barbecue, tar, friar, fire, liar, orchestra. And how about friar, liar, and choir? I'm glad I said those out loud.
Whoa.
They rhyme.
Take that, Jemmerby.
Tar, barbecue, orchestra, and snake. You know, I always get to this point and I go, look, this has to be the match, but what could it be? Tar, barbecue, orchestra.
Stuff in a pit.
In a pit.
Oh,
Tar pit, barbecue pit, orchestra
Very
pit.
good.
Snake. Benita wins. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen.
It's the pit.
That's how you do connections. It's good for the New York Times, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's huge. It's been a big boon to their business.
It's better than reading the news. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Paris, give us something wonderful.
Listen, I have something wonderful this week. Last weekend, I went, quote unquote, upstate. I went about a 2 or 3 hour drive north of New York City with members of my recreational skee ball team, the Bourgeois Ski, for a little R&R weekend. We rented an Airbnb with a sauna. We had a lovely time.
Whoa.
Someone suggested casually, they're like, on Saturday, I heard there's like a UFO museum in the nearby town of Pine Bush. We should go check it out. We were all like, oh, haha, yeah, we'll go. I assume it's going to be some, room with a couple of plaques. We roll up at the Pine Bush UFO and Paranormal Museum at noon and the dot, exactly what happens. And it is an insane museum. The photo you're showing is from the one area you can take photos of, which is their alien abduction scene. But it was a surreal, an out-of-this-world experience, you might say.
Here they are.
We were there for an hour.
Happy to be abducted. Here they are, terrified to be abducted.
Yes. They had a whole bed you could hang out on. You got little aliens you can go with. Shout out to the owner, Lance, who gave us a kind of guided tour through the museum. It was way more involved than I thought. We were there for an hour. I would recommend going if anybody's nearby. None of us really believe, I don't not believe that there's life outside of humanity in the world, but I wasn't really there for the alien experience.
Do you think
which is
Lance
what we got.
believes?
Oh, yes. Lance was like, I'm a skeptic, but Lance was absolutely not a skeptic. Lance put together, there were so many animatronics in this museum.
Oh, did he build it?
I think so. It used to be Pine Bush. What I did learn is that Pine Bush is it's like a hot spot for UFO sightings in the Northeast.
They have an annual
and
UFO
there's a lot
fair. We should do this.
Yes, which
we
is
should
where
go
this
there in
spun
June.
out of.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm down. I've got a really nice Airbnb we can stay at, and there's a sauna there. Do the show on the road with Lance. And local legend Linda Zimmerman, a paranormal expert who apparently had to, quote, deal with some shadow people, is how it was described. A phrase I think is so funny.
Deal with the shadow people. Wow. Well, everybody ought to go to Pine Bush. That sounds wonderful.
Honestly, it was great.
I love your
really fun time.
What else did you do on your trip?
We just hung out. Honestly, we were there from Friday to Sunday. We watched RuPaul's Drag Race. We played some card games.
I'm so jealous that you actually have friends.
Had a lovely time.
That's so nice.
Isn't that amazing?
It's so wonderful. Did you meet these people in college or just pick them up off the street?
No, I met one of them through like a media happy hour sort of thing
so
I used to go
great.
to
This
5 or
is why
6
you
years
live
ago.
in Brooklyn, because you can make
That's true.
friends. There's
Leo,
people there.
Leo, you want to hear the saddest thing about my life?
No, what?
You're the best friend I have.
No, I feel the same way. This
That's not
basically
sad.
this whole
you guys
network.
You've talked together for 3 hours every week for
Yeah.
how many years?
I know.
That's more
I'm
than
serious.
most friends
I'm serious.
will
True,
in
yeah.
their lives.
That's why
But
the
we're
whole-
virtual. People are going to make fun of us for
This
that.
is why the network exists. And it's not just by the way
Yes.
the people on the shows. It's our community too. I feel very close to many of the
Amen.
people in our Discord and stuff. I know, we know their names. We, in the old days they used to come by the studio. We're going to bring that back. We'll tell you about that as we coming in the spring. Yeah. Well, at least on Sundays, Lisa has agreed
For club members only.
And for club members only. Yeah. What we're really trying to do is
It's going
make
to be a physical club.
it'll be a real club. Yeah.
There's going to be a secret handshake, folks.
Well, there are.
But you
there
better
are
sign up
hats.
before there is.
There are official hats, so you will have to wear the fez. Very good. The Pine Bush UFO Museum. Highly recommend.
Did you go out to eat or did you eat in Paris?
We did a little bit of both. First night, we cooked a bunch of Trader Joe's frozen pizzas, which was honestly phenomenal.
You could have had cacio e pepe.
We could have. I mean, that's what I was thinking when he said it. I was like, man, we're going to have to try the cacio e pepe next time. Because we were all like, this is a great idea. If you drive from 3 hours from New York City. And then we went out to some local haunts. We always we went to what was called the Cup and Saucer Diner, but saucer was like
perfect.
UFO saucer because everything's UFO themed in Pine Bush.
Did you go next door to Shawangunk? Because there's a
What? Excuse you. Bless you.
Shawangunk, next door in beautiful.
I actually do know what you're talking about, but I had no idea how to pronounce it.
I don't either. I just made that up.
Shawangunk.
Yeah, New York State. It's a trip.
It's true.
Upstate is a lot. Anything north of the Bronx is upstate to us.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
It is it's upstate mentally.
It's not
it
really
took
that
us
far.
2 hours to get out of New York City and then 1 hour to drive where
it's
we were
really-
going.
It's
but
not that far. It's up the Hudson. My daughter went to Bard up Poughkeepsie way, so I've been kind of through the northern part of the Hudson Valley. Is beautiful. Quite a beautiful area. Thank you, Paris Martineau. Read her work at The Information. If you're not a member, you really need to join theinformation.com. I've been a member since they started. Very proud member. If you have
I've been a member since Paris came on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks,
well, I hope
guys.
that's true of everybody watching. If you have a tip for Paris, her signal number is 267-797-8655. Thank you, Paris. Your candle made it all the way through the show.
it did.
Yeah.
It's still flickering. It's got quite a lot of wax in there, actually.
It's
So
a special
big
2 hour,
night ahead of me,
20-minute
folks.
candle. Woo! Oh, God. I can't believe you said that. Okay, and I don't want to know. And thank you to Jeff Jarvis. He is, ladies and gentlemen, the director of the former director. What is your title? Emeritus director?
Well, I'm on leave.
The on-leave director of the Town Night Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism
Craig.
at the City University of New York. I saw
Don't
Craig
rush past that.
just gave them another big grant, did he not?
$10 million to help them get toward a goal of being tuition free.
Oh, my
Craig-
God.
Craig-
That is so great.
Craig is the most generous friend of journalism.
That
there
is, yeah. And he said because he believes in the importance of journalism. And what a great contribution. Craig, I don't know if you're listening, but thank you very much. There
was a party, and I thought, well, I'm already gone, and I didn't get an invitation. And I found out today that I did, and it got buried in my email, and I searched for it. That's okay.
Well, now you know,
It's
Craig,
time for
why
the
he
next.
wasn't there. That's
I gotta
$10
tell
million on
Craig,
top of
yes.
the $20 million he gave him a few years ago,
Yes.
right? I mean,
and other things he's given as well. It's quite
Wow.
amazing. The
Wow.
generosity of the school
Wow.
is just great.
I like the New York Times story saying Craig Newmark, founder of a website that siphoned $20 billion off of the value of print newspapers, according to at least one study, gave.
They had to get that jab.
They really
wrong.
jabbed him. They jabbed.
Completely wrong.
Yeah, no, you can't blame Craig's list for newspapers floundering. You can't blame it, however, for the failure of podcasting in America. So I'll say that right now.
We got our eyes on you, Craig.
Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. Thank you, Paris Martin. Thanks to our wonderful Club Twit members who make this show possible. You can join the club at twit.tv/clubtwit. Last day of the survey. Take that survey at twit.tv. We do this show every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. If you want to watch us do it live, we stream it live on YouTube, youtube.com/twit. But really, it's a lot easier, of course, to watch the show after the fact. We put a copy on the website, twit.tv/twig. All the shows are there going back to whenever we started it, 10 years ago or something. 3 hours a week for 10 years. That's more than 1,500 hours of you and me chatting. Jeff Jarvis.
Wow.
That's a lot of
Wow.
talk.
You sick of me yet?
No.
Seriously, I was joking before. I'm actually honored and delighted that we are friends. And that's why I keep doing this, because every week I'm here with my friends.
Right.
And I love it.
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel, yeah.
Paris,
So
I would like to think
I'm
of
so
you.
glad to be part
wholesome.
of this, guys.
Yes. We'd like to join your
Paris, you know
skee-ball
what?
team.
We ought to have coffee sometime in Hip.
We should. We live close. Whenever you're in the city, let me know. I can journey to Manhattan.
I don't want you to lose cool points.
Well, if she bicycles over the Brooklyn Bridge, I guess you get cool points for that. So
That's true.
Get a city bike, and you can make up.
You know, I lived in the Heights for a few years.
Crown Heights.
I could never. No, Brooklyn Heights.
Okay.
And I could never, which is right by the Brooklyn Bridge. And
Yes.
because of my bridge phobia, I never got across it.
Oh, it's the most
really?
beautiful
It's
bridge
lovely.
in the world.
Driving, but not walking.
Oh,
I know, it's amazing. Because you look down, Leo, between the wood, you see water.
That's true. I feel like you'd be fine, though, if you fell off.
Mrs. Roebling made a little cameo appearance in The Gilded Age a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A little feminist moment where she got credit for building the bridge, but her husband was actually
Wasn't that great?
eau de combat.
Yeah. And the fireworks at the opening of the Brooklyn Bridge and all that was kind of fun. A little piece of history stuck into that pot boiler. If you do not subscribe to the show, you're probably missing episodes. So do go get your favorite podcast client and subscribe to This Week in Google. You'll get it automatically as soon as it's available, and that makes it a lot easier to listen to it whenever you have the urge. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week. I hope you will too on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Rod Pyle, editor-in-chief of Ad Astra Magazine, and each week I join with my co-host to bring you This Week in Space, the latest and greatest news from the final frontier. We talk to NASA chiefs, space scientists, engineers, educators, and artists, and sometimes we just shoot the breeze over what's hot and what's not in space, books, and TV. And we do it all for you, our fellow true believers. So whether you're an armchair adventurer or waiting for your turn to grab a slot in Elon's Mars rocket, join us on This Week in Space and be part of the greatest adventure of all time.